Chapter 5097. Yuanya, go and capture immortal Ting Jiao. This Luo Hua fairy. Leave her to your 8th martial uncle. Xiao Hua instructed and placed Gu Yunzi beside him. Ha ha. As Xiao Hua took out the Kunlun mirror, the celestial being laughed and flew out of the light beam. He looked at the green light and shouted, "She is my prey. Sooner or later, she will fly to me. You have been free and unfettered in the mortal world for so many years. You must be tired. Come back." As he spoke, the celestial being waved his hand, and the heavenly dipper rushed up to the sky. The heavenly dipper released a green light that was exactly the same as the green light in all directions. It covered the green light around Fairy Luo Hua, and her figure was revealed. Fairy Luo Hua was even more shocked than immortal Ting Jiao. She looked at the heavenly dipper above her head, and there was no surprise in her eyes. There was only coldness and ruthlessness. Except for ruthlessness, there was only ruthlessness. Ka. The heavenly dipper trembled slightly, and a golden light fell and instantly went through Fairy Luo Hua's delicate body. Unlike ordinary cultivators, Fairy Luo Hua didn't die. Instead, her whole body trembled and made a clear boom sound. Then, a faint square outline appeared in her body. Whoosh! The celestial being's figure flashed, and he had already passed through the green light and landed beside Fairy Luo Hua. Then he stretched out his hands, and a pair of big hand shadows fell on the square outline. Then, with a thunderous sound, the void for thousands of feet to the left was trembling. As the light and shadow intertwined, the outline of the heavenly dipper was taken out by the celestial being from Fairy Luo Hua's body. After losing the heavenly dipper, Fairy Luo Hua's face blushed, and a faint trace of vitality appeared in her eyes. However, this vitality was still very weak. Fairy Luo Hua only had time to say thank you, and her weak body had already turned into powder and scattered with the wind. After Fairy Luo Hua died, the heavenly dipper immediately produced a strong suction force. The surface of the shadow rushed into the heavenly dipper, and a strong aura that could destroy the void came out of the heavenly dipper, and the nearby broken wall of Zhurong Palace was lifted again. Fellow cultivator Luo Hua. Immortal Ting Jiao was naturally not Yuanya's opponent. Just when Fairy Luo Hua turned into ashes, he was also captured by Yuanya. His ruthless eyes actually, he looked miserable, and he growled, and turned to Yuanya, and said, "Kill me quickly, I really can't resist the corrosion of this ancient era's era magic. I really can't resist the erosion of this ancient era." After he finished speaking, his eyes opened, and opened. He, Tung Tian's heaven, and he Tung, Tung, and Tung Jiao, and he Master Tung. The heaven looked at the heavenly dipper and raised his right hand. Ka. A few times, the shadow of a large hand broke through immortal Tung Jiao's defense, and forcibly took the other half of the Tung Jiao shears out of immortal Tung Jiao's body. After the Tung Jiao shears were taken out, immortal Tung Jiao's face turned red. Although his withered body didn't turn into ashes, it was still very thin, without any flesh or blood. Swoosh! Xiao Hua waved his hand, and the other half of the Tung Jiao shears turned into a golden light, and landed beside immortal Tung Jiao. Immortal Tung Jiao's eyes showed an indescribable bitterness, and he said in a low voice, This Tung Jiao shears is indeed in the hands of a Dao cultivator. I have been looking for it for over 10,000 years. Unfortunately, without waiting for him to finish speaking, a deathly gray color quickly spread on his cheeks. Immortal Tung Jiao almost didn't have the strength to say another word. He only looked at the heaven, let go of his hand, and sent out his half of the Tung Jiao shears, combining it with the other half. In an extremely resplendent golden light, 2 golden flood dragons were entangled together. He opened his mouth and spat out 2 words. Thank you. As for whether he was thanking the heaven for restoring the Tung Jiao shears or thanking the heaven for cutting off his unbearable life as a tool cultivator, perhaps only immortal Tung Jiao himself would know. Following the last 2 words of his life, immortal Tung Jiao's body floated into the fire pond like a fallen leaf, disappearing in a moment. The heaven lowered his head to take a look, and sighed. With a wave of his hand, he put away the heavenly dipper, and said loudly, Fellow Taoist, quickly put I into the Kunlun immortal realm. I want to refine the heavenly dipper. No problem, said Xiaohua as he waved the Kunlun mirror and put away the heaven and heavenly dipper. Standing beside Xiaohua was none other than Gu Yunzi of Kunlun sect. He did not know that the treasure in Xiaohua's hand was the Kunlun mirror, but when he heard the heaven's words, his face was filled with astonishment. His eyes rested on the Kunlun mirror, unwilling to move away for a long time. Xiaohua naturally noticed Gu Yunzi's expression, but he did not mind it. He raised his hand and performed a grabbing motion, and the two flood dragons fell into his hand, transforming into the Tung Jiao shears again. Xiaohua gave it a brief glance, and his heart was filled with emotions. He waved his hand and put the Tung Jiao shears into his space, asking Reverend Yun to refine it for him. At the moment, Reverend Thunder was busy refining the 5 elements heavenly staff, so he did not have the time to help Xiaohua. Senior, please spare our lives. Please spare our lives. Seeing Fairy Luohua and Reverend Tung Jiao fall one after another, and their 2 ancient magical items being taken away by Xiaohua, the 2 sword cultivators of the 2nd tier of illusory sword hurriedly dropped to their knees and begged for their lives. Xiaohua looked at the 2 and said to Yuanya, Yuanya, this is your own karma. You decide for yourself. Yuanya looked at the sword cultivator who had lost half of his life and said coldly, Scram. Yes, many thanks, Senior, many thanks, Senior. The 2 sword cultivators did not even reveal their names. They hurriedly stood up respectfully, and with one supporting the other, they turned into sword lights and hurriedly left. Now that the sword cultivators had left, Reverend Blue Feather and Reverend Jingxi had fallen. Only Xiaohua and Gu Yunzi remained. Gu Yunzi was not a fool. He hurriedly bowed and said, Since Senior interfered in the matters of Ardent Fire Mountain, how could Junior dare to interfere? Please forgive Junior's disrespect. And Xiaohua nodded. Behind him, Fire Qilin and all the other disciples of Ardent Fire Mountain knelt down and kowtowed. Senior Xiao, thank you for taking revenge for my Ardent Fire Mountain. As Fire Qilin's voice fell, Fire Hibiscus, Fire Luan and all the other disciples of Ardent Fire Mountain also knelt down on the ground, kowtowing with tears streaming down their faces. It was not that they did not think of taking revenge, but they did not have the strength. They did not even understand the matters of Ardent Fire Mountain, so how could they take revenge? They had never thought that Fairy Luohua, who had ambushed the 3 elders of Ardent Fire Mountain, would fall in Ardent Fire Mountain and be killed in front of the disciples of Ardent Fire Mountain. Everyone get up. Xiaohua waved his hand and helped everyone up. He said indifferently, this old man had some karma with the 3 elders of Ardent Fire Mountain, and now, it can be considered settled. Saying this, he looked down into the abyss and said, Since this old man helped Fire Qilin seize the position of sect master, this supreme treasure of Ardent Fire Mountain should be mine? Fire Qilin, Fire Hibiscus, and Fire Luan did not dare to be negligent. They hurriedly said in unison, Yes, this supreme treasure is Senior's. That's good. As Xiaohua spoke, he raised his hand and reached towards the fire pond in the abyss. A thunderous big hand was formed and fell into the fire pond. The big hand closed and caught the hundreds of fire chains. Open. Xiaohua roared and retracted his big hand. The entire Zhurong Palace hall shook. Amidst the rumbling sounds of mountains collapsing and earth splitting, the fire chains were torn apart. The Yazi beast's soul essence that had been imprisoned for an unknown number of years whizzed out of the fire pond and rushed into the sky. Soon after, it roared a few times and flew to an unknown place amidst the flickering flames. All the disciples of Ardent Fire Mountain were dumbfounded. They had never thought that Xiaohua would release the soul essence that was regarded as a supreme treasure by Ardent Fire Mountain. Xiaohua retracted his divine ability and looked at Fire Qilin. Fire Qilin, this old man has helped you obtain the position of sect master of Ardent Fire Mountain. You should take care of yourself. Oh right, Huapengfei colluded with Meng Nation's immortal music sect. That Taoist Blue Feather is actually not related to the 3 elders of Ardent Fire Mountain. Yes, this junior knows his mistake. Hearing this, Huapengfei's face turned pale. He then took 2 steps forward and said, This junior is too infatuated with power. This junior deserves death. Saying this, Huapengfei turned his hand and was about to strike his own head. Wait, who would have thought that at this moment, Fire Qilin would shout and extend his hand to block Hua Pengfei's hand. Sect Master Qilin. Hua Pengfei smiled bitterly and said, "Could it be that you want to do it yourself?" Fire Qilin ignored Hua Pengfei and looked at Xiao Hua. Senior, Ardent Fire Mountain without great-grandfather is no longer Ardent Fire Mountain. Without the Supreme Treasure, Ardent Fire Mountain will no longer be Ardent Fire Mountain. Ardent Fire Mountain that has lost its family is no longer Ardent Fire Mountain in this junior's heart. With such a Ardent Fire Mountain, even if this junior blocks the sect master, so what? Moreover, this junior doesn't like to be a sect master. Senior. Without waiting for Fire Qilin to finish speaking, Hua Hibiscus hurriedly flew over and knelt down. This junior has a thought from Big Brother Qilin. Please accept us as your disciple. We wish to leave Ardent Fire Mountain. Yes. Fire Qilin similarly knelt down and said, "This junior knows that his cultivation is shallow and doesn't dare to become senior's disciple. Please accept this junior as your disciple." Xiao Hua had some understanding of Fire Qilin and Hua Hibiscus. Seeing the two acting like this, he nodded and said, "Since that's the case, you all can follow this old man." Saying this, Xiao Hua waved his big sleeve and took Fire Qilin, Hua Hibiscus and Zhen Qing. His figure moved and rushed out of the abyss. Yuanya and Gu Yunzi didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly followed. The three of them disappeared in a moment. After everyone left, only the disciples of Ardent Fire Mountain remained in Zhurong Palace Hall. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. After half a cup of tea's time, Huoluan said with waning interest, "Forget it. Since that's the case, my Ardent Fire Mountain will disperse." "No," Hua Pengfei hurriedly shouted. "Although the two great-granduncles have left, you are still here. Although my Ardent Fire Mountain has declined, it is still a sect. This is the painstaking effort of the three great ancestors. We can't just abandon it like this. I am willing to support great-granduncles as the sect master of my Ardent Fire Mountain. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. I am really grateful for everyone's support. I will try my best to add one more chapter. This will be the end of the story of Ardent Fire Mountain. Chapter 5098. We're willing to. The other disciples of Blazing Fire Mountain cheered as well. Blazing Fire Mountain can't be without a sect master. Since Granduncle is the only son who is qualified to be the sect master, he can sit on the sect master's seat today. Huoluan ascended to the position of Blazing Fire Mountain's sect master as she wished. She was ready to reorganize the Blazing Fire Mountain. Xiao Hua led a group of cultivators and rushed into the sky. With a sweep of his divine sense, he already knew that the Ardent Fire Mountain's forbidden array had been destroyed by the Sword Cultivator. Therefore, Xiao Hua's figure flashed and flew out of the Ardent Fire Mountain, landing on a foothill several hundred li away. After putting everyone down, Yuanya and Gu Yunzi flew over. As soon as Gu Yunzi landed, he immediately said respectfully, "Senior Xiaoyu, since you have a relationship with Blazing Fire Mountain, why did you hand over Blazing Fire Mountain to a disciple who colluded with sword cultivators? In the future, will Blazing Fire Mountain be a pawn of sword cultivators, or a sect of Dao cultivators?" Xiao Hua smiled and asked, "Gu Yunzi, you were also invited by Huoluan. It seems that you shouldn't be the one to say this. It should be Hua Qilin or Hua Hibiscus." No wonder when I asked Huoluan if she invited other cultivators a few days ago, she kept hemming and hawing. If I knew she invited sword cultivators, I would definitely leave in a huff. Gu Yunzi shook his head and said, "Even if I owe the three elders of Blazing Fire Mountain a favor, I have the right to do this in the face of the sword cultivator, who killed the three elders. I'm sure the three elders won't blame me if they know." Forget it. Xiao Hua no longer saw the difference between sword cultivators and Dao cultivators. He smiled and said, "Blazing Fire Mountain only has 3 legitimate sons. Since Hua Qilin and Hua Hibiscus are unwilling to stay in Blazing Fire Mountain, Huoluan will naturally be in charge of Blazing Fire Mountain. This is the will of heaven and the will of the people. As for where Blazing Fire Mountain will go in the future, it's their own business. It has nothing to do with you, me, or the entire Dao cultivators. Moreover, the sword cultivators have already taken over Sky Patrol City. It's said that many swordsmen have gone to the Cultivation 3 Kingdoms to train. My Dao cultivators have also gone to the Hung Kingdom to train. Slowly, sword cultivators and Dao cultivators will merge. It doesn't matter who is the chess piece of who. Sigh. Gu Yunzi naturally had foresight. By the time Xiao Hua finished speaking, he had already understood. He could not help but sigh. Senior, you're right. The Great War of Dao and Sword back then was definitely the opening of a new era. We are now in the midst of an era of change. Oh, that's right. Hearing Gu Yunzi mention the changes in the era, Xiao Hua immediately thought of the method of selecting spiritual roots and the cultivation method of spiritual roots. He hurriedly asked, now that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth has changed greatly, how will the Kunlun sect deal with it? Gu Yunzi hesitated for a moment. He looked at Zhenqing and the others and said embarrassedly, Senior, I have something to tell you in private. Amen. Xiao Hua nodded. He turned to Zhenqing and said, Martial Uncle, the matter of the Ardent Fire Mountain has ended. You can now return to the Zhenlei Hall and report this matter to Sheng Yunzi. I still have some matters to attend to, so I won't be sending Martial Uncle back to the Imperial Thunder Sect. Taoist Master Xiao. Hearing Xiao Hua still calling him Martial Uncle in front of Gu Yunzi, Zhenqing felt warm in his heart. However, when he heard that Xiao Hua was not returning to the Imperial Thunder Sect, he hurriedly asked, You're not returning to the Imperial Thunder Sect? Xiao Hua laughed and said, The Imperial Thunder Sect is Martial Uncle's Imperial Thunder Sect, not mine. My return to the Imperial Thunder Sect is not legitimate, so why would I find trouble for no reason? Sun Shu hurriedly said, Senior brother, didn't you say earlier? Senior brother has just left the Sky Thunder Peak, and Sect Master Qian Lazy has already issued a summoning order. Qian Lazy has already fallen, so there's no need to mention this matter again. Before Sun Shu could finish speaking, Xiao Hua waved his hand and said, The karma between me and the Imperial Thunder Sect has already been settled, so there's no need to complicate matters. Of course, Martial Uncle is still Martial Uncle, and Junior Sister is still Junior Sister. In this vast world, if anyone dares to bully my Martial Uncle and Junior Sister, my fortune gate will definitely come out in full force. Alright. Sun Shu's expression was a little gloomy. He knew that Xiao Hua could no longer return to the Imperial Thunder Sect, so he said in a low voice, Senior brother, if you have time, come to the Imperial Thunder Sect to visit your old friends. Zhenqing hurriedly gave Sun Shu a look, obviously telling Sun Shu to mention the Myriad Lightning Valley, so that Xiao Hua could reminisce about old times. However, Sun Shu pretended not to see it. She understood Xiao Hua very well, not inferior to Fairy Hongxia and Xue Xue. She knew that Xiao Hua was a nostalgic person, and he would definitely return to visit the Myriad Lightning Valley's disciples. Of course, with Xiao Hua's current strength, even if he went, other than the Myriad Lightning Valley's disciples, the other Imperial Thunder Sect's disciples would definitely not know. She had no reason to come here in advance, as if she was using family ties to coerce Xiao Hua. Feeling helpless, Zhenqing could only bow and say, In that case, I will take my leave. After saying that, Zhen Yu knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Daoist Xiao, this little one will also take his leave. This little one wishes Daoist Xiao good fortune and good health. And quickly go. Xiao Hua smiled and helped this devout believer up. He said, Cultivate well and save the world. Yes, this little one will remember Daoist Xiao's teachings in this life. Zhen Yu stood up and said, while releasing the flying boat. He jumped onto the flying boat first and said to Zhenqing and the rest, Seniors, please board the boat. Zhenqing, Sun Qian and Sun Shu boarded the flying boat and reluctantly waved goodbye to Xiao Hua. When the flying boat was activated, it disappeared in a moment. Xiao Hua looked at the Fire Qilin and Ho Furong and said to Yuanya, Yeah, these two children's aptitude is not bad. Are you willing to accept them as your disciples? Master. Yuanya replied without any trace of politeness. Disciples' cultivation technique is not suitable for them. Disciple does not want to accept them. All right. Xiao Hua pondered for a moment, then said to the Fire Qilin and Ho Furong, Don't be disappointed. With my disciple's strength, Accepting you as his disciples is indeed not appropriate. Please wait a moment. Saying that, Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror and released Xiongyi. Xiongyi didn't have time to take a closer look. He quickly bowed and said, "Greetings, master." Xiongyi. Xiaohua looked at the fire Qilin and Horfurong and said, "These two are master's old acquaintances. Their temperament is not bad. Help master find a suitable master for them in the fortune gate, regardless of whether they are inner or outer disciples." "Yes, disciple understands." Xiongyi agreed without hesitation when he heard that he didn't need to accept any disciples. Xiongyi looked around and said with a smile, "Master, is this the Yilin mainland? Or the Donrain mainland?" "This is already the Donrain mainland." Xiaohua smiled and said, "Bring them back first and discuss with Li Xiang." "Yes, disciple understands." Xiaohua didn't say much, but Xiongyi understood Xiaohua's meaning and bowed respectfully. "Fire Qilin, Hofurong." Xiaohua looked at the two and said solemnly, "From now on you are no longer Ardent Fire Mountain's disciples. Since you have entered my fortune gate, you must abide by my fortune gate's rules. Don't create trouble." "Yes, disciple understands." Seeing that another late nascent soul cultivator had appeared, the Fire Qilin and Hofurong didn't dare to breathe loudly. Hearing Xiaohua's words, they bowed respectfully. After Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror and released the three people, he looked around and said, "Gu Yunzi, if you have something to say it here." "Yes, senior." Gu Yunzi naturally wouldn't let Yuanya leave. He hurriedly looked at the Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand and asked in a low voice, "Junior wants to ask senior, is the magic treasure in your hand the Kunlun mirror?" "Yes." Xiaohua didn't hide anything and nodded. "This magic treasure is indeed the Kunlun mirror." Hiss. Gu Yunzi was already certain, but when he heard Xiaohua admit it himself, he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. He said somewhat enviously, "Senior, you're really lucky. This Kunlun mirror is an ancient artifact. As far as this junior knows, the Kunlun mirror was the most precious treasure of our Kunlun sect in ancient times. Only those who can control the Kunlun mirror are qualified to be the sect leader of our Kunlun sect. Every generation of Kunlun sect leader relies on the Kunlun mirror to have the ability to penetrate the heavens and penetrate the earth." Xiaohua's face revealed an intriguing smile and said, "Gu Yunzi, are you reminding this old man to return this Kunlun mirror intact?" I wouldn't dare." Gu Yunzi hurriedly smiled and said, "Junior definitely didn't mean that. Junior has already made it clear that the Kunlun mirror is an ancient magic treasure with incomparable power. Those who don't have great luck will never be able to obtain it. Since senior has already obtained it, it means that in this vast world, only senior is qualified to control it. Junior can only be envious and dare not be jealous. Secondly, senior's current ability is unrivaled in the world. Even if my Kunlun sect uses all its power, we still can't defeat senior. What right does my Kunlun sect have to ask senior?" Xiaohua nodded and said with a smile, "Kunlun sect is indeed a great Taoist sect with inheritance. Your bearing is extraordinary. If it were other sects, I'm afraid they would have already suppressed me with righteousness." Gu Yunzi smiled and said, "Senior, you think too highly of my Kunlun sect. Since my Kunlun sect is established in the Xiaoyu continent, it's inevitable that we won't be secular. If senior's strength is not enough, who knows what my Kunlun sect's masters will do? After all, this is the Kunlun mirror. Others don't know this treasure, but my Kunlun sect knows it clearly." Hearing Gu Yunzi being so honest, Xiaohua felt a little strange and said with a smile, "You stayed here just for these words?" "Of course not." Gu Yunzi shook his head and said, "Junior stayed here because I have a few ideas." "Hehe, you actually have a few ideas." Xiaohua nodded and took out a jade table, spiritual fruits, and other things. He said, "Sit down, I'm all ears." "Senior, please don't be so polite." Gu Yunzi hurriedly waved his hand. However, Xiaohua interrupted him and said, "This spiritual fruit can make up for one's lifespan. Are you sure you don't want to use it?" "Hehe, if that's the case, Junior will disturb you." Hearing this, Gu Yunzi immediately sat down in front of the jade table, took a peach of immortality, and answered with a smile. "P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, Please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and reward it. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5099. After Gu Yunzi ate a peach of immortality, he said, "Actually, Junior's first thought is to invite Senior to join my Kunlun sect. After all, Senior took the Kunlun mirror, which means that you are fated with my Kunlun sect. But then I thought about it, with Senior's strength, how would my sect master deal with it? Moreover, Senior's strength is indeed an anomaly in my Xiaoyu continent. This matter is related to the sect's plan. Junior can't decide without permission. I have to return to the sect master and ask for his opinion." Xiaohua didn't know whether to agree or not, so he asked, "What's the second thought?" "The second thought is," Gu Yunzi said with a smile, "Junior wants to know where Senior got the Kunlun mirror? After all, my Kunlun sect has always regarded finding the Kunlun mirror as the #1 priority for all the disciples in my sect. However, for so many years, Junior has never heard of any news about the Kunlun mirror in the Xiaoyu continent. Of course, this is Senior's secret. If it's inconvenient, you don't have to tell Junior." Actually it's nothing," Xiaohua said with a smile. "This Kunlun mirror is not a complete one. I got different fragments from different people and finally refined them together." Rock Border Sect. Just as Xiaohua finished speaking, Gu Yunzi's expression changed slightly, and he said in a low voice, "Junior understands. That year, my Kunlun sect heard that the Rock Border Sect had the Kunlun mirror, and specially sent disciples to check it out. But the name of the magic treasure was Kunlun mirror, but its power didn't match the name of the Kunlun mirror. Moreover, the Kunlun mirror was only controlled by a Golden Core disciple. After my Kunlun sect disciples saw it, they returned in disappointment. Junior and the others didn't expect the ancient magic treasure to be broken. If it wasn't broken, how could it be scattered all over the Xiaoyu continent?" Xiaohua replied. "Yes, Junior understands." Gu Yunzi nodded and asked again, "Can Junior report this matter to the sect master?" "Yes," Xiaohua said with a smile. "I used the Kunlun mirror to avoid people. Your sect master will know eventually." "Thank you, Senior." Gu Yunzi finished speaking and ate another immortal peach before saying, "Since Senior is so generous, I won't hide anything from you. My last thought is, although Senior has obtained the Kunlun mirror, have you obtained the true method of refining and activating the Kunlun mirror?" Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. He shook his head and said, "To tell you the truth, this old man really doesn't have the real method to refine and activate the Kunlun mirror. Now, I can only rely on what I obtained from refining the Kunlun mirror to barely activate the Kunlun fairyland." Hearing this, Gu Yunzi hurriedly got up, tidied up his Taoist robe, and took out a jade piece that looked like a magic cloud from his sleeve. He respectfully handed it to Xiaohua and said, "Senior, I am Gu Yunzi of Kunlun sect. I would like to invite you to Kunlun Mountain. Is it possible?" Seeing that Gu Yunzi was so serious, Xiaohua couldn't be rude. He hurriedly got up and put away the jade slip. He said with a smile, "Although I've never been to the Kunlun sect, I've heard of some of the deeds of the Kunlun sect fellow Taoist. Now that I see your actions today, it's quite to my liking. I must go to the Kunlun sect. I hope the Kunlun sect won't disappoint me." After Xiaohua put away the jade slip, Gu Yunzi's heart calmed down. He said, "Junior can rest assured. According to what Junior knows, there is a method to refine and activate the Kunlun mirror in my Kunlun Mountain secret territory. With Senior's strength and Senior's Fortune Gate's influence, I'm sure my sect master will consider inviting Senior to explore the Kunlun secret territory." "Oh, Kunlun secret territory?" Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat. He asked curiously, "Is that a forbidden area of your Kunlun sect?" "Senior can understand it as a forbidden area." Gu Yunzi answered honestly, "Of course, Senior. You can also understand it as a forbidden area for our Kunlun sect to pass down our orthodoxy. It is said that there are many lost cultivation methods and secret skills of our Kunlun sect in there. Whenever a new sect leader takes over the position of sect leader, he must enter the secret realm to search for opportunities for himself and for Kunlun sect. If that's the case, this Xiao understands." Xiaohua nodded and said with a smile. No wonder there are rumors in the Xiaoyu continent that your Kunlun sect has an inheritance. I'm afraid the root of it is here. Speaking of this, Xiaohua took out a dozen jade slips from his storage pouch and handed them to Gu Yunzi, saying, In that case, it's impolite to visit. This is a gift from this Xiao to your Kunlun sect. Please bring it to your sect master. Daoist Xianjing. When Gu Yunzi heard this, beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He hurriedly said in a low voice, Senior, my sect master's name is a little special. It's Xianjing, there's no Daoist Xianjing. Xiaohua was a little embarrassed when he heard this. In fact, he didn't know who the Kunlun sect's sect master was. Before Zhenqing left, she had asked him through voice transmission. At this time, he casually added 2 Daoist Xianjing. Xiaohua smiled and said, It seems this Xiao was careless. In that case, this Xiao should apologize. Gu Yunzi naturally understood the meaning of Xiaohua's jade slip. He waved his hand and said, Senior is too polite. Whether or not we can enter the Kunlun secret territory depends on our sect master. This junior doesn't dare to decide for our sect master. Junior also doesn't dare to accept these things on behalf of my Kunlun sect. Take a look first. Xiaohua smiled slightly and replied without surprise. If you feel that it's inappropriate, you don't have to. Alright. Gu Yunzi certainly couldn't not give Xiaohua face. He took the jade slip and took one at random. He immersed his divine sense into it to take a look. Hee. Xiaohua laughed secretly. He wasn't afraid that Gu Yunzi would look at it. He was afraid that Gu Yunzi wouldn't look at it. He was also not afraid that Gu Yunzi would accept it. He was afraid that Gu Yunzi wouldn't accept it. Even the Yilan Continent's Heaven Alliance and Dao Alliance couldn't resist the temptation. How could the Kunlun sect master in the Lost Land resist it? Sure enough, as soon as Gu Yunzi's divine sense entered the jade slip, the expression on his face froze. The eagerness and disbelief in his eyes had already emerged like weeds. Gu Yunzi knew that it was extremely inappropriate for him to continue looking, but the contents of the jade slip were really tempting. He couldn't help but continue looking. After struggling for a few times, he finally withdrew his divine sense from the jade slip. Then he looked at the other dozen jade slips reluctantly. He didn't dare to release his divine sense anymore. Instead, he held the jade slips tightly in his hands. His palms were sweaty. He even looked up at Xiaohua nervously. He opened his mouth, but his mouth was a little dry. He didn't know what to say. Don't be so nervous. Xiaohua smiled and said, This is a gift from me to your Kunlun sect. Keep it first. As he spoke, Xiaohua took out a storage bag and handed it to Gu Yunzi, saying, This is my gift to you. Really? Gu Yunzi really regretted asking such a stupid question. However, his eyes betrayed him again. It's just copying the contents of the jade slip. It's very simple. Xiaohua smiled and pointed out the things in the storage bag. Other than that, there are the spirit fruits and some spirit herbs that you just ate. It's nothing. Just based on your request to go to Kunlun Mountain. These things are worth it. Hearing Xiaohua say that there were jade slips in the storage bag, Gu Yunzi's heart couldn't help but jump a few times. He closed his eyes and pondered for a moment. Then he opened his eyes and said with a smile, Senior, you've given me too much. I'm a little afraid to accept it. Don't worry. Xiaohua said indifferently. This is not only for you, but also for the Kunlun sect. It's also for the cultivators of the 3 kingdoms and the Xiaoyu continent. Gu Yunzi sucked in a breath of cold air. As if he understood something, he hurriedly bowed and said, Junior thanks you on behalf of the cultivators of the 3 kingdoms. Please get up. Xiaohua smiled and helped Gu Yunzi up. You can rest assured now, right? Yes, Junior can rest assured. Gu Yunzi calmly took the storage pouch from Xiaohua. Without even looking at it, he also put the dozens of jade slips into it and carefully hid them. He said, Junior will now return to Kunlun Mountain through the night. I will report Senior's things and Senior's intentions to my sect leader. And go back quickly. Xiaohua nodded. When I have time, I'll pay a visit to your sect master. Yes, Junior will wait for Senior's arrival at Kunlun Mountain. Gu Yunzi knew the importance of the storage bag on his body, so he didn't dare to stay here for long. After bidding farewell to Xiaohua, he immediately turned into a rainbow and soared into the sky. Seeing Gu Yunzi leave, Xiaohua smiled. He naturally knew that there was a Kunlun sect in the Lian country of the Xiaoyu continent, but he had never associated this Kunlun sect with the Kunlun mirror. He didn't expect to meet a disciple of the Kunlun sect today, when he came to the Blazing Fire Mountain to settle the karma. He even learned the secret of the Kunlun sect. Since the Kunlun secret territory was the forbidden area of the Kunlun sect, and only the sect masters of the Kunlun sect could enter, then it was obviously not so easy for Xiaohua to enter the Kunlun secret territory to find the method to refine and activate the Kunlun mirror. Xiaohua used the spiritual root selection method, the nascent soul cultivation method, the primordial spirit cultivation method, and even various cultivation methods and secret techniques obtained from the Yilan continent as a stepping stone. He didn't believe that the Kunlun sect wouldn't open the door to the Kunlun secret territory. Let's go. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, "Follow Master to see the place where you lived when you were refining qi." "Yes, Master." Yuanyao agreed and flew into the sky with Xiaohua, turning into a stream of light and disappearing. A few days later, Shang Huaming was already in sight, but when Xiaohua saw the place that he had been yearning for day and night, he couldn't help but frown slightly. The fog array around the yellow flower ridge had disappeared, and in front of the mountain peak, there were thousands of qi-refining cultivators dressed in the 10,000 Flower Valleys uniform. Under the command of more than 10 Foundation Establishment disciples, they were activating the yellow talisman magic weapons and other attacks. In this attack, the mysterious face of the yellow flower ridge was revealed. Behind the crumbling array, there were also thousands of disciples dressed in the 100 Grass Gates uniform waiting for the attack. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote, vote for a recommendation vote, collect, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5100. Boom. Coincidentally, just as Xiaohua was frowning, the great formation of Yellow Flower Ridge collapsed. In a flash of light, the figures of thousands of 100 Herbs Gate disciples were exposed. Kill. The Foundation Establishment disciples of 100 Herbs Gate roared. Thousands of disciples activated their yellow talismans and magic tools to form a great formation, and rushed towards the attacking disciples of 10,000 Flowers Valley. Kill. The disciples of 10,000 Flowers Valley were already prepared. Seeing the great formation of Yellow Flower Ridge collapse, their morale was immediately boosted. They also roared and rushed forward. For a moment, tens of thousands of aura refining disciples and Foundation Establishment disciples were fighting. Seeing Xiaohua's figure slightly stop and frown, Yuanya hurriedly said, "Master, is this your master's gate? Should disciple go down and help them out?" "No need." Xiaohua slightly shook his head and looked somewhere. "He's not in a hurry, why should I be?" Yuanya was puzzled. He looked at the sky above Yellow Flower Ridge, and saw a handsome male cultivator in gorgeous clothes with a cold smile on his face. He was indifferently watching the battle of Yellow Flower Ridge. Behind his back he held an emerald jade ball in each hand. The jade ball spun strangely as the male cultivator's fingers nimbly rubbed it. Although the black silk and clouds cleverly concealed the male cultivator's figure, these concealments were almost useless in Yuanya's eyes. "Ha! Who is this demon?" Yuanya asked curiously. "It seems his strength is very weak." "This is Master's second senior brother." Xiaohua smiled. "His name is Zhang Qingxiao. He's a human who was possessed by a Diluo beast." "And disciple understands." Yuanya nodded. There was no change in his expression. Yuanya was extremely loyal to Xiaohua. Since Zhang Qingxiao was Xiaohua's second senior brother, he was Yuanya's second senior uncle. He definitely wouldn't look down on Zhang Qingxiao because he was possessed by a Diluo beast. Xiaohua moved and Yuanya followed. Yuanya flew behind Zhang Qingxiao, but Zhang Qingxiao still didn't notice. Xiaohua suppressed the excitement in his heart and slightly bit his lips. After a while he said in a low voice, "The battle at Yellow Flower Ridge is very fierce. Why don't you go down and take a look? No matter what, this 100 Herbs Gate is where you put your heart and soul into. As expected by Xiao Hua, Zhang Qingxiao's figure stiffened. The jade ball that seemed to be flowing in his hand suddenly stopped. But after a few breaths, the jade ball slowly rotated again. And Zhang Qingxiao's reply came in neither fast nor slow. Little junior brother, you're finally back. Alas, I knew you'd come back, but it's been too long. So long that I've almost forgotten that I still have a junior brother like you. Yellow Flower Ridge is my home. I will return sooner or later. Although it's been a long time, you're still my second senior brother, Xiao Hua said with a smile. His eyes were already moist. Through the hazy mist, Xiao Hua could clearly see that Zhang Qingxiao, who had turned around, was still as young and handsome as before. You old demon, why are you still so handsome? Xiao Hua sniffed and smiled as he stretched out his arms. Zhang Qingxiao looked at Xiao Hua's unchanged appearance and shook her head. You little monster, you're actually stronger than me? She stretched out her arms and hugged Xiao Hua. The reunion after hundreds of years was much warmer than the reunion of life and death in the early years. There was less suspicion and more concern. Zhang Qingxiao didn't even release his devil vision or divine sense. They patted each other's shoulders. All their concern was in this one pat. The two then let go. Without waiting for Xiao Hua to speak, Zhang Qingxiao first glanced at Yuanya and said to Xiao Hua, I really didn't expect that I'd be able to see you one last time before I die. Xiao Hua wasn't surprised at all. He smiled and said, Don't worry, little brother is back. Your problem is no longer a problem. Do you think that your death will solve everything? Don't let your imagination run wild. Oh. Zhang Qingxiao's face showed surprise. She asked curiously, How can you tell? Isn't it because you can't control the invasion of devil qi? Aren't you afraid that you'll turn into a devil and lose your consciousness? Xiao Hua smiled and said, Why can't I tell? Damn it. Zhang Qingxiao smiled bitterly. She touched her nose and said, Are you still my little junior brother who's only in the Golden Core realm? It's only been 682 years. You actually cultivated to such a terrifying level? Xiao Hua shrugged and said as if ridiculing, It's not that little brother's cultivation is fast, it's that second senior brother's cultivation is too slow. If you had the strength to pass the tribulation, little brother might have done it himself. Now that you're only in the late nascent soul realm, let little brother's disciple do it. Zhang Qingxiao curled her lips and said, You're just bragging, right? I didn't expect that after hundreds of years, your bragging skills would improve the fastest. Yeah. Xiao Hua ignored Zhang Qingxiao and turned to Yuanya and said, Help your second senior uncle deal with the devil qi. Yes, master. Yuanya hurriedly flew over and bowed. Disciple greets second senior uncle. Quickly get up. It was fine for Zhang Qingxiao to joke with Xiao Hua, but when she saw the devil qi on Yuanya's body, she felt like an ant in front of this devil qi. How could she dare to let Yuanya salute her? He hurriedly tried to help Yuanya up, but just as he raised his hand to touch Yuanya's arm, he felt a strange suction force from Yuanya's arm. Before he could react, the nascent soul in his lower dantian, which had been eroded by the devil qi, suddenly became lighter, and the devil qi that had been binding him was swept away. How is it? Xiao Hua said with a smile. It's just a small accident, second senior brother is too concerned. Zhang Qingxiao's matter was originally a piece of cake for Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua could do it himself. But when Xiao Hua heard Zhang Qingxiao say that it was the last time they would see each other before death, he knew that Zhang Qingxiao took this matter too seriously. Because of this, it would give birth to a knot in her heart, so she simply let Yuanya do it, and let Zhang Qingxiao relax. Sure enough, when Zhang Qingxiao saw that the huge stone in her heart was easily removed by a junior, her handsome face blushed a little. She said with some embarrassment, This cough, thank you for your trouble. I don't dare. Yuanya stood up respectfully and said, Disciple is a junior, serving second martial uncle is what I should do. Of course. Xiao Hua smiled and said, Second senior brother, don't be careless. Although your demon heart Dao seed technique is unique, it's actually very different from the real cultivation method of the demon clan. Similarly, it's also contrary to the cultivation method of my Dao cultivators. You'd better not try it for now. Wait for me to help you think of a foolproof plan. It won't be too late to cultivate then. Zhang Qingxiao naturally knew the drawbacks of her cultivation. Hearing Xiaohua's words, she smiled bitterly and said, "Do you think I want to cultivate like this? I have some devil cultivation methods, and I also obtained the condensed knowledge treasure when I was alive." All of a sudden, my Dao cultivation realm advanced by leaps and bounds. I can't give up the devil cultivation method, so I can't balance these two cultivation methods. To tell you the truth, I didn't dare to cultivate 20 years ago. Today is the last time I take a look at Yellow Flower Ridge. I have to make a decision. As for how to cultivate in the future, I can't see any hope. Don't worry. Xiaohua patted Zhang Qingxiao's shoulder and said, "I have a Mahayana realm devil dragon here, who is also transforming from a human into a devil. You can ask him for advice. Moreover, I also have a devil lord friend. He can also give you advice." Damn it. Zhang Qingxiao suddenly jumped up and shouted, "Little junior brother, could it be that you went to the devil realm in the past few hundred years? We'll talk about where I went later." Xiaohua smiled and raised his hand to point below and said, "I'll talk about old times for a while. Your disciples and grand disciples will be killed by the 10,000 Flower Valley." Humph. Hearing this, Zhang Qingxiao coldly snorted and said, "What 10,000 Flower Valley disciple? He's just a Shanghua sect disciple who came to test us. As for the 100 Grass sect disciple, I can't even take care of myself, so I can't take care of them. What about senior sister?" Xiaohua asked. "Don't worry about junior sister's safety. I've already made arrangements. If there's any trouble in her residence, my heavenly demon sect will definitely come out in full force." Sun Yunzi still hasn't given up. Xiaohua slightly narrowed his eyes and said, "Do you know where he is?" Sun Yunzi is already an elder of Shanghua sect. He's not in Hua Yuanshan mountain range. Who knows where he went? Zhang Qingxiao said with a somewhat bitter smile. Other than immortal Lu Ni's death, I can't even find Fairy Yingzhua's whereabouts. Fairy Yingzhua has already been possessed by a demon, Xiaohua said, and I've also imprisoned that demon. Xuanyan sect's enmity can be considered settled. Once I find Sun Yunzi, I can avenge my master. It seems that the demon has already told you everything? Zhang Qingxiao's face showed a trace of relief and asked. Xiaohua nodded, then looked down and said, "I'd better kill these annoying flies first." "Up to you." Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, "This place has already been exposed. I've already prepared to give up." "Since you've already given up, then use this place as bait." Xiaohua smiled and took out the Kunlun mirror. As the mirror vibrated, Li Xiang and Xiongyi flew out and hurriedly bowed. "Greetings, master." Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed at Yellow Flower Ridge, saying, "This is where I cultivated when I was refining qi. It's called Yellow Flower Ridge. In the future, it will be the Fortune Gate's foundation." Xiongyi and Li Xiang looked down and understood. They replied in unison, "Disciple understands." "Good, I'll leave this matter to you." Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror again, and groups of Fortune Gate outer disciples flew out from the mirror, forming a battle formation in midair. "The ones guarding the mountain are 100 Herbs Gate's disciples. They're on our side. The ones attacking the mountain are the sects of Master's enemies. You guys decide what to do." "Yes." Xiongyi's gaze swept over the land, and a fierce light flashed in his eyes. He raised his hand and said, "Disciples, although this old man has killed his way to Yellow Flower Ridge. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Happy birthday to Yiyun." Chapter 5101. Kill. The crowd of Fortune Gate's outer disciples roared in unison, their voices shaking the heavens like war drums. Whether it was the Splendid Sect's disciples or the 100 Herbs Gate's disciples, all of them turned around in panic. While they were still dumbfounded, tens of thousands of Fortune Gate's disciples fell from the sky like a flood, majestically killing their way over. Not to mention the 100 Herbs Gate and Splendid Sect's disciples. Even Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded. She thought that Xiaohua would order Yuanya to expel the besieging Qi refinement disciples, but she didn't expect that Xiaohua would send out tens of thousands of ordinary disciples. Moreover, Most of these disciples were foundation establishment cultivators. Tens of thousands of foundation establishment cultivators. This was the rhythm of sweeping through the three mainlands. Moreover, Zhang Qingxiao didn't think that Xiaohua, who was used to keeping a low profile and hiding his strength, would only have so many disciples in the Kunlun mirror. Just looking at Yuanya, who made her tremble in fear, Zhang Qingxiao knew that Xiaohua must have other backup plans in the Kunlun mirror. With such an iron army, not to mention the blood feud with Shang Huaming, it wouldn't be difficult to annihilate the Xuanyan School, Splendid Sect and Seven Skills Sect. What kind of opportunity did junior brother encounter? Why is it so mysterious? Zhang Qingxiao was shocked and couldn't help but glance at Xiaohua again, inwardly thinking, it's only been a few hundred years, my heavenly demon sect didn't have such strength, and the Fortune Gate's forces that spread throughout the three countries and Huan country were only gradually showing their ferocity. How could his Fortune Gate be so powerful? It must be senior sister's life spirit tablet that let you know that junior brother is still alive in this world, right? Xiaohua asked without rhyme or reason. Zhang Qingxiao was naturally stunned, but after several breaths, she came to her senses and nodded. That's right. I learned that you were expelled from the Imperial Lightning Sect and then mysteriously disappeared. I didn't know whether you were alive or dead. Suddenly, I thought of Jiang Luer. As long as he's fine, you're naturally fine. So I hurried to Yellowflower Ridge. I didn't dare to say too much to junior sister, so I only asked about the life spirit tablet. After knowing that you were safe and sound, I immediately left, afraid that junior sister would think too much. Yes, I also know a little about what happened after that. Xiaohua smiled and said, I've already met Yi in Million Mountain. Damn it. Zhang Qingxiao suddenly came to a realization and cursed angrily. This damn thing, I just received a message from him 2 days ago saying that he was preparing to return from Huan Kingdom. Why didn't he tell me? Xiaohua replied. It was little brother who didn't let him say it. Moreover, don't forget how you gave him the order, and how he reported it to you. Zhang Qingxiao came to a realization, and snorted coldly. When I heard that he was returning from Huan Kingdom, I immediately scolded him. How would I understand the hidden meaning in his words? Second brother. Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said, Thank you. Why are you thanking me? Zhang Qingxiao was a little puzzled. I've already seen Li Zongbao. Xiaohua explained. Yin met me when he risked his life to save Li Zongbao. And this guy is not bad. Saving him from the Pillar of Heaven's peak was not in vain. Zhang Qingxiao nodded noncommittally, and didn't mention her death order at all. However, speaking up to here, Zhang Qingxiao suddenly came to a realization, and looked at Xiaohua with some disdain. I understand, you're still worried about Laozi. You didn't let Yin tell me because you wanted to see if I would commit any crimes, right? How can little brother be worried about second brother? Xiaohua answered. Little brother is worried about the heavenly demon sect. And I understand. Zhang Qingxiao watched as the Fortune Gate disciples ignored the fleeing Shanghua sect's disciples and only killed the Shanghua sect's disciples who were putting up a desperate struggle. Zhang Qingxiao said indifferently, Your Fortune Gate is much more powerful than my heavenly demon sect. It's good that second brother understands. Xiaohua smiled and said, With you and me around, the Fortune Gate and heavenly demon sect won't have any big disputes, but if we're not around, it's inevitable that there will be conflicts. Little brother has to give some instructions to his disciples. Whatever. Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, I've already agreed to let Yin return, and I'm ready to hand over the heavenly demon sect's matters to him. I want to save my own life first. This is your heavenly demon sect's matter. It's inconvenient for little brother to participate. Xiaohua smiled. But Yin is a good candidate. Che. Zhang Qingxiao said. Don't forget, you're my heavenly demon sect's deputy sect chief. If you say so, then so be it, I don't care. Xiaohua shrugged, looking even more shameless than Zhang Qingxiao. Zhang Qingxiao helplessly looked at Xiaohua and shook his head saying, But there's something I need to tell you clearly. This Yin is no longer the child we saved on the Pillar of Heaven's peak. Oh. Xiaohua was surprised and asked curiously, What do you mean? I remember I saw him afterwards. I didn't see anything strange about him. It's very simple. Zhang Qingxiao thought for a while and said, Back then, I was angry that you were expelled by the Imperial Thunder Sect, and I knew that you were very nostalgic and wouldn't bear to let anyone touch the Imperial Thunder Sect. So I vented my anger on the Black Sky Sect. After that battle, my Heavenly Demon Sect made a name for itself, but we also suffered a lot of losses. This child and a deputy sect chief of Tiangang Sect named Yi Yin were injured at the same time, and both of their injuries were very serious. I could only save one, and that Yi Yin was from the same mysterious family as this child, so I sympathized with him and would rather die to save him. So I merged the two of them into one. In order to commemorate Yi Yin, and to conceal his origin, this child changed his name to Yi Yin. However, Yi Yin's performance in these past few years was extremely good, and it exceeded my expectations. He's really a good candidate. Xiao Hua smiled bitterly and said, These, you don't have to tell me. It's rare for me to do a good deed, and it's even done together with you. Zhang Qingxiao stretched and said, If I don't tell you the details of this child that I saved, how can it be done? Up to you. Xiao Hua waved his hand, and his heart felt warm. All right. Zhang Qingxiao suddenly thought of something and asked, Do you know who the two nascent soul cultivators who chased after you were? I don't know. However, I've seen their faces. If they didn't disguise themselves, I would be able to recognize them. Xiao Hua replied. Of course I heard from Yi Yin that you've already started investigating, so I'm too lazy to look for any clues. Take a look. While speaking, Zhang Qingxiao took out a jade slip from her bosom and threw it to Xiao Hua, saying, This is the image of the nascent soul cultivators of the Dawn Rain continent. Of course, I can't guarantee that I won't miss any of them. Also, I don't have the ability to find all the dead or missing nascent soul cultivators. Xiao Hua took the jade slip and scanned it with his divine sense for a moment. His face turned cold as he said, No need to say any more, I've already seen the faces of those two nascent soul cultivators. Ooh. Zhang Qingxiao was delighted and said, Are you sure? Will they change their appearance? At that time, I had just condensed my core. In their eyes, that chase was inevitable. At first, they hid their figure and appearance, but in the end, when they really tracked me down, they were already unscrupulous. Why would they think of changing their appearance? Xiao Hua said coldly, These two nascent soul cultivators are Shan Xingzi from the Immortal Ascension Sect and Daoist Dui from the Immortal Music Sect. The Immortal Ascension Sect and the Immortal Music Sect of Meng Country? Zhang Qingxiao was at a loss. She scratched her head and said curiously, Before the Sword War, you seem to have never been to Meng Country, right? How could you offend the Immortal Ascension Sect and the Immortal Music Sect? Could it be that you suddenly snatched the two daughters of these two nascent soul cultivators? I've been thinking about this for a long time. It shouldn't be something that happened after I went to Shanghuaming. Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes and said, If it's related to the two sects of Meng Country, it should be something that happened before I went to Shanghuaming. However, the problem is that I can't remember anything before Shanghuaming. If there's no accident, my soul was searched. I'm afraid this soul search has something to do with these two nascent soul cultivators. Zhang Qingxiao was about to speak, but Xiao Hua spoke first. Second senior brother, I'll talk about this after I see senior sister. How should we deal with your 100 Herb sect now? Since you've come back and are ready to avenge Master, this 100 Herb sect naturally doesn't need to exist anymore. Zhang Qingxiao thought for a moment and said, According to our previous agreement, reinstate Shanghuaming. Shanghuaming? Xiao Hua hesitated slightly and replied, Shanghuaming is not very suitable. I'll explain the specific reasons to second senior brother and senior sister later. After I finish, you can make a decision. At this time, you can take away the disciples of the Heavenly Devil sect in the 100 Herb sect. The other disciples of the 100 Herb sect can stay. Well said. Zhang Qingxiao nodded and agreed. I'll personally go down and give the order. Great sect Master Zhang, please. Xiao Hua smiled and raised his hand. Xiao Hua, Zhang Qingxiao, and Yuanya descended from the sky. Zhang Qingxiao ordered the Heavenly Demon sect's disciples to withdraw, then took out the 100 Herbs Gate's Gate Chief's token, and ordered all 100 Herbs Gate's disciples to rest. Xiao Hua ordered Xiong Yi and Li Xiang to reorganize the Fortune Gate's disciples in preparation for the establishment of the Fortune Gate. After everything was arranged, Zhang Qingxiao brought Xiao Hua and flew to the Cherishing Flower Peak. As Xiao Hua expected, the herb garden on the Cherishing Flower Peak was still the same. Several early gold core cultivators were hidden near the herb garden. Obviously, they were sent by Zhang Qingxiao to protect Xiao Xianrui. Seeing Zhang Qingxiao appear, everyone flew out to greet her. Zhang Qingxiao looked at everyone and thought for a moment. She took out some rewards from her bosom and ordered them to return. She then said to Xiao Hua, "Junior brother, I've withdrawn these experts. I'll leave junior sister's safety to you. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, donate and..." Chapter 5102. Don't worry, second senior brother. Xiao Hua said as he activated the Kunlun mirror, sending out 10 Fortune Gate disciples with Severing Divinity Realm cultivation, and ordered them to protect the Cherishing Flower Peak. Your grandmother. Zhang Qingxiao cursed when he saw the 10 disciples whose cultivation he couldn't see through. You're just showing off in front of me. After she finished speaking, Zhang Qingxiao's figure landed in front of the herb garden on Xihua Peak. She raised her hand and lightly knocked on the wooden door of the herb garden. Xiao Hua could clearly see that the herb garden was enveloped by a powerful array. Although there was no sound when Zhang Qingxiao knocked on the wooden door, the movement of the array had already spread into the herb garden. Sure enough, a moment later, Xiao Xianrui's familiar voice sounded. Who is it? Junior sister, it's me. Zhang Qingxiao's voice was lower and gentler. Oh, it's second senior brother. Although Xiao Xianrui's voice was very affectionate, there was also a trace of disappointment. You haven't been to Yellowflower Ridge for a long time. As the wooden door opened, a corner of the array was torn open. Xiao Xianrui walked out and said, "Today I don't know." Before Xiao Xianrui could finish, she had already seen Xiao Hua's thin and tall figure behind Zhang Qingxiao. Xiao Xianrui was stunned on the spot. She stared at Xiao Hua, her lips trembling. She wanted to say something but couldn't. Finally, she mustered all her strength and asked in a low and hoarse voice, "Where's Lu Er?" "Lu Er is fine." Xiao Hua had just seen Zhang Qingxiao, and the feelings in his heart had already been vented. At this time he wasn't too excited and only said with a smile, "Moreover, he has already become the Buddhist sect's Buddha of Xuanji merit, and has become an existence revered by thousands of Buddhas." Lu Er. Finally hearing the news that her child was safe, Xiao Xianrui couldn't bear it anymore. Her whole body seemed to have been drained of strength, and she collapsed to the ground. The life spirit tablet that Zhang Qingxiao had refined in the past appeared in her right hand. Back then, Xiao Hua only said that he would take Jiang Lu, to find a Buddhist sect expert, but she didn't expect that it would be more than 600 years. It had been more than 600 years, and his fate was unknown. Today he finally heard the news, but he still couldn't see the flesh and blood he had been longing for day and night. Xiao Hua didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly raised his hand to support Xiao Xianrui. Although his eyes were red, he still said, "Senior sister, I'm very sorry. You can't see Lu, for the time being." "Why?" Xiao Xianrui raised her hand and grabbed Xiao Hua's arm tightly, as if she had used all her strength. She cried, "Even if he has become a Buddha, he is still my child. Why can't I see him?" "It's very simple," Xiao Hua answered honestly. "Because the realm Lu is in is not the Donrain continent." "Interface?" Xiao Xianrui was stunned and asked curiously, "What does interface mean? Could it be that Lu is not in the Donrain continent?" Xiao Hua looked at Xiao Xianrui's white hair and wrinkled face with heartache. He instantly thought of old G-Man in the Huta village. These two mothers had both taken the rejuvenation pill. Although his rejuvenation pill was magical, it couldn't resist the poison of longing for their children in their hearts. Xiao Hua sighed with emotion at the innate love of the mothers in the world. He said, "Senior sister, don't worry. Please go back to the medicine garden, and let me tell you slowly." "Yes, yes." Xiao Xianrui hurriedly wiped the tears on her face and said apologetically, "Look at me. You haven't come back for hundreds of years. As soon as you came back, I blocked the door and didn't even let you in. If Luer knew, he would scold me again. Quick, come in. Speaking of this, Xiao Xianrui saw Yuanya behind Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao. She asked doubtfully, This is my disciple. Xiao Hua hurriedly said, Yeah, come and pay your respects. Disciple greets martial aunt. Yuanya didn't dare to neglect and hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. Xiao Xianrui couldn't see through Yuanya's strength. She hurriedly helped him up. Xiao Hua's heart moved and said, Yeah, this is Chuanzong's mother. You also know about Chuanzong's sutra seeking in paradise. Xiao Hua actually didn't remember whether Yuanya knew about Chuanzong's sutra seeking in paradise, or whether Chu Yuanya had seen Chuanzong. He just wanted to make Xiao Xianrui feel at ease. Xiao Hua's words fell into Yuanya's ears. Yuanya's face was full of reverence. After saluting Xiao Xianrui, he stood up and said, Martial aunt, so you are Chuanzong's mother. Although disciple has never seen you, disciple has heard of Chuanzong's deeds of walking for nearly 300 years. His footprints have traveled all over the hidden immortal continent and paradise. Thousands of Buddhist believers in the hidden immortal continent. Hundreds of millions of good men and women have obtained paradise because of Chuanzong's merits. This kind of tenacity, this kind of kindness to the world, disciple will never be able to achieve it even if disciple cultivates for a lifetime. Yuanya was naturally not good with words, but it was these pertinent words in Xiao Xianrui's ears that felt real. She smiled proudly and said, This is what he should do. When he was still young, he had a great ambition. Now that he can finally realize it, I am happy for him. I hope that you can help each other in the future and do more useful things for the people of the world. Yes, disciple understands. Yuanya nodded. Disciple will learn more from senior brother. Xiao Hua saw that Xiao Xianrui's spirit was greatly uplifted. In just a few breaths, the previous depression and worry were swept away. He was also quite happy. Knowing that his move was completely correct, he ordered, Yeah, you stay here and guard. I will say a few words to your martial uncles. Don't let others disturb us. Disciple understands. Yuanya stepped back and stood at the side of the medicine garden's gate. Let the child come in and sit. Xiao Xianrui saw Yuanya as if she saw Jiang Luer. She said with some distress, It's not easy to return to Yellow Flower Ridge. He should also take a rest. Let's go. Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes at Xiao Hua and said to Xiao Xianrui, Just let him be your guard. A cultivator comparable to a cultivator in the crossing tribulation stage is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to guard the herb garden of Xihua Peak. Ah! Xiao Xianrui was surprised. She looked at Yuanya in disbelief. She really didn't expect that this cultivator, who felt like her own child, was actually so high. Luer is more powerful than him. Xiao Hua only said one sentence, but Xiao Xianrui's proud tears fell like rain. Zhang Qingxiao was speechless. He really didn't understand how a woman could cry so much. Xiao Xianrui was like this, and Zhang Yutong was also like this. However, he knew that at this time it was absolutely not appropriate to speak. He only needed to wait patiently. In the end, the sky would clear up after the rain. Sure enough, in less than half a cup of tea's time, Xiao Xianrui smiled again. Compared to before, she was much more charming. She said with a smile, I've let you see a joke. Quickly come in. Xiao Hua's understanding was no worse than Zhang Qingxiao's. At this time, just like Zhang Qingxiao, he didn't say a word and quietly followed Xiao Xianrui into the medicine garden. However, when he saw the situation of the medicine garden, his heart couldn't help but moisten. The medicine garden was still the same medicine garden. For hundreds of years, there hadn't been any special changes. The medicine field hadn't been opened up too much, and there weren't too many spiritual herbs planted. The tender green spiritual herbs and the fluttering spiritual flowers swayed gently in the wind. Everything was so quiet that Xiao Hua suddenly felt that he had returned to the past. However, unlike before, there was a tent set up with a restriction in the medicine garden. This was also where Jiang Luer had fallen into silence. If it wasn't unexpected, Xiao Xianrui should have lived here for the past hundreds of years by relying on her longing. Sure enough, Xiao Xianrui walked into the tent. Xiao Hua and Zhang Qingxiao looked at each other, their eyes full of bitterness, and followed her in. The inside of the tent was extremely simple and crude. There was only a futon, a jade cabinet, and nothing else. The jade cabinet didn't have any restriction. At a glance, Xiao Hua knew that most of the clothes inside were the clothes worn by Jiang Luer when he was young. His nose couldn't help but sour. Second senior brother, little junior brother, you can sit anywhere you want. Xiao Xianrui said apologetically. I don't have anything here. It's fine, it's fine. Without waiting for Zhang Qingxiao to speak, Xiao Hua hurriedly took out 2 futons and threw them on the ground. He and Zhang Qingxiao took one each. Then he took out a jade table and placed some spiritual fruits on it. The spiritual fruits were tempting, and the immortal peach smelled sweet, but how could Xiao Xianrui have any appetite? She held back her eagerness. When Xiao Hua placed the spiritual fruits on the table, she asked impatiently, Little junior brother, quickly tell me about Luer's situation these years. Okay. Xiao Hua picked up an immortal peach and handed it to Xiao Xianrui. Senior sister, try it first. You tell me first. Xiao Xianrui didn't even look at the immortal peach and said, It won't be too late for me to eat after you finish. And Xiao Hua then handed the immortal peach to Zhang Qingxiao. After thinking for a moment he said, Then I'll tell you everything about leaving the Dawn Rain continent. Then, Xiao Hua once again gave a general account of his experience, among which he talked about Jiang Luer's matter, and the matter of Nirvana scripture seeking in particular detail. Although the words came from Xiao Hua's mouth, in Xiao Xianrui's ears, it was as if she was drifting on the river with Jiang Luer. It was as if she was climbing the steep mountain ridges of the Nirvana realm, the boundless land of the hidden immortal continent. Her expression was sometimes nervous, sometimes relaxed. In the end, when she heard Xiao Hua say that Jiang Luer had attained the Buddha of Xuanji meritorious virtue, a tranquil Buddhist light appeared on her face. After Xiao Hua finished talking about Jiang Luer's journey to the west, he hesitated for a moment and stopped. He smiled and handed the immortal peach to Xiao Xianrui. Senior sister, this is all I know about Luer. Now he's already an extraordinary figure in the Buddhist sect. He doesn't need my protection anymore. He has the attention of the gods and Buddhas all over the sky. He has the heavy trust of hundreds of millions of believers on his shoulders. Although he's your boy, he's also the Buddha Lord of the Buddhist kingdom. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5103. Buddha Lord. Zhang Qingxiao had been possessed by a demon. Hearing this, he was shocked. Of course, he knew about the past, present, and future Buddha Lords of the Buddhist sect, but he didn't know who this Buddha of Xuanji merit was. However, Zhang Qingxiao didn't ask too much. Whether the Buddha Lord was the Buddha Lord or not, it didn't have anything to do with him. A little devil. He didn't know how many years later, he, a devil, and the Buddha Lord that Xiao Hua spoke of, would have a lot of disputes. Yes. Xiao Xianrui smiled happily, tears flowing down her cheeks. I know, but I still can't let it go. Since he already got the Buddha fruit, why did he go west? Where is he heading west? Xiao Hua naturally wouldn't tell Xiao Xianrui the secret of the Buddhist sect. He hesitated and smiled. Luer is going west, to go back to the Dawn Rain continent, to Yellow Flower Ridge. Ah! Xiao Xianrui was shocked and looked at Xiao Hua incredulously. Little junior brother, you said he's going to come back from the sea in the east? Not only was Xiao Xianrui surprised, but Zhang Qingxiao was also confused. He had been to the Kuai-He Sea personally. He finally asked, since the 3 continents and the Dawn Rain continent are not in the same realm, how could Luer come from the Kuai-He Sea? There's an immortal formation here. Xiao Hua then told him the shocking secret that no one knew and the world-destroying mayfly of the 3 continents. I knew it. Zhang Qingxiao heard and smiled bitterly. How could you be willing to come back? So it's to save the world. If not, how could you be willing to cross the border and come back? You're such a sentimental good person. You can never change your character. What's wrong with being a sentimental good person? Xiao Xianrui retorted. A sentimental good person can save people from disaster. This is a great merit. Xiao Xianrui was short-sighted and couldn't say anything. But hearing that Xiao Hua and Jiang Luer were merciful, she immediately stood on the side of Xiao Hua. Zhang Qingxiao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "Junior sister, I'm not talking about this." However, as soon as he finished speaking, he realized that it was impossible for him to get through to Xiao Xianrui, so he stopped and asked, "Forget it, let's not talk about this. Tell me about the matter of returning to Donrain continent. It's definitely extremely difficult." Sigh indeed. Xiao Hua nodded emotionally, then picked up another immortal peach and handed it to Xiao Xianrui. "Senior sister, this can make up for your lifespan. You should eat one too. You don't have much time left. If you don't eat, I'm afraid you won't be able to hold on until Lu returns." All right. Hearing that they had to wait for Jiang Luer to come back, Xiao Xianrui no longer hesitated. She took the peach and ate it. If one was not enough, she would take another one. Moreover, the Mahavairakana World Lord and the Dipankara Archaic Buddha World Lord are still in the Pure Land. They won't let Luer get hurt. That's good. Xiao Xianrui heaved a sigh of relief. However, Zhang Qingxiao asked curiously, "Where is the Maitreya Buddha World Lord?" "He came back with this little brother to save the world." Xiao Hua didn't hide anything and replied, "Damn it, if that's the case, you still have the nerve to drink here?" Zhang Qingxiao jumped up and said, "Hurry up and break the formation." "Second senior brother." Xiao Hua didn't know whether to laugh or cry and said, "This is an immortal formation. It's very likely that it was laid down by some heavenly lord or immortal king. How can it be so easy to break?" "Damn it, heavenly lord? Immortal king?" Hearing this, Zhang Qingxiao curled the corner of her mouth and said, "I don't know much, so don't lie to me. How can those high and mighty fellows care about the matters of the Donrain continent? This little brother doesn't know the specific situation." Xiao Hua replied, "But this little brother knows that this great formation is already erected between the 3 continents and the Donrain continent. If we can't find the trick to breaking the formation, even 100 little brothers won't be able to break the formation with just strength." "You haven't even seen it, so how do you know it won't work?" Zhang Qingxiao sat down dejectedly and didn't forget to ask. "Actually, when this little brother came out from the Million Ming Mountains, I already went to the Tai Ching Sect's Heaven, Earth, and Mortal Peaks to take a look." Xiao Hua's spring and autumn movement technique trembled slightly and said with a smile, "However, this little brother couldn't find any traces of breaking the formation from the 3 peaks. Other than being helpless, I was at my wit's end. So I could only put it down for now." Speaking until here, Xiao Hua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said, "Second senior brother's heavenly devil sect is spread all over the Donrain continent. If possible, second senior brother, please lend this little brother a hand." "My heavenly devil sect?" Zhang Qingxiao sneered. "My heavenly devil sect can't compare to the fortune gate in front of us, nor can it compare to the fortune gate spread all over the Donrain continent. Do you still need my help?" Although Zhang Qingxiao said so, he still hurriedly got up and left in a hurry. A moment later, he returned and said, "This old man has issued the heavenly devil order. I hope it can help you a little, but don't hold any hope. This kind of ancient secret is probably only known by the Tao cultivation sects and Swords Gate with long inheritances. Yes, this little brother also knows this." Xiao Hua nodded. "This little brother is waiting for a suitable opportunity to announce this matter to the world." "You're thinking too much." Zhang Qingxiao coldly said, "What does the life and death of the 3 continents have to do with the Donrain continent? Only a merciful person like you would consider it. Other cultivators would only listen with one ear and throw out the other. Then let the Fortune Gate's iron army sweep through the entire Donrain continent." Xiao Hua said indifferently, "Break through these sects one by one and explore their forbidden areas." "Little junior brother." Xiao Xianrui was a little confused and asked curiously, "Why don't I understand? Isn't the Fortune Gate a sect that rose in the last few hundred years? What does it have to do with you?" "Junior sister doesn't know," Zhang Qingxiao said with interest. "The Fortune Gate worships Taoist Xiao as this little junior brother in front of you. He is the true leader of the Fortune Gate. Ah. Xiao Xianrui opened her mouth in surprise, and said after a while, if that's the case, then little junior brother does have the potential to flatten the 3 countries. You're only talking about potential, junior sister. You go and see for yourself. Zhang Qingxiao stood up and said, the current Yellow Flower Ridge is no longer the 100 Herbs Gate's world, but the Fortune Gate's mountain gate. What's going on? Xiao Xianrui was stunned, and then said, I'm sorry, second senior brother. This concubine hasn't asked about the 100 Herbs Gate for a long time. What happened at Yellow Flower Ridge? This concubine doesn't know. It's not your fault. Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, you're not the person to be the sect master, and I'm already very satisfied that you've been here for so long. Haha. Xiao Hua saw the 2 of them stand up, and he hurriedly stood up and said, little brother came back this time with the intention of reorganizing Shanghuaming, but there are some unforeseen circumstances. Then, Xiao Hua accompanied Xiao Xianrui and Zhang Qingxiao out of the herb garden, and briefly explained the matter of Dark Flower. Xiao Xianrui and Zhang Qingxiao frowned when they heard that Shanghuaming's origin was so strange, and that it was actually founded by the demonic beast race's great sage, and that many ancestors were killed by the founder. Finally, Xiao Hua said, little brother has captured Dark Flower, and I have already settled all the karma between him and me. Moreover, Dark Flower took the initiative to ask me, Shanghuaming, not to mention his name again, so I want to put my Fortune Gate in Yellow Flower Ridge. However, Shanghuaming is the sect of second senior brother, senior sister, and little brother, so this matter will be decided by the 2 of you. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it a reward, and thank you for all kinds of support. Chapter 5104. This is your Fortune Gate's disciple? Xiao Xianrui felt a little dizzy when she saw so many Zhuji disciples and Jindan realm cultivators flying in the air and busily tidying up the ground. Her aptitude was not good, and she was not particularly diligent in cultivation. Now she was only in the early stage of Jindan realm. She had never seen so many Jindan realm cultivators. Yes. Xiao Hua nodded and waved his hand. Xiong Yi and Li Xiang, who had been paying attention, hurriedly flew over and bowed. Master. Facing the 2 Fortune Gate sect masters, Xiao Hua couldn't be as casual as he was with Yuanya. He smiled and pointed at Zhang Qingxiao and Xiao Xianrui. This is Master's second senior brother and senior sister. Juniors greet seniors. Xiong Yi and Li Xiang didn't dare to neglect and hurriedly bowed. These are my Fortune Gate sect masters. Xiao Hua introduced them to Xiao Xianrui and Zhang Qingxiao. Seeing the 2 nascent soul realm cultivators' extraordinary auras, Xiao Xianrui understood and hurriedly bowed. Greetings, sect masters. Zhang Qingxiao had no choice but to follow suit. Xiong Yi and Li Xiang hurriedly dodged and modestly said, we don't dare, we don't dare. Why aren't you the sect master? Zhang Qingxiao stood up and said with jealousy, handing over the sect's affairs to your disciple and being a hands-off shopkeeper? He senior doesn't know. Since he knew Zhang Qingxiao was Xiao Hua's second senior brother, Xiong Yi didn't hide anything and said with a smile, my master is the Fortune Gate's first senior brother. First senior brother? Zhang Qingxiao's eyes turned green when he heard this. He clapped his hands and exclaimed, this name sounds good, why didn't I think of it? Xiao Xianrui asked curiously, since it's the first senior brother, then, isn't there also the second senior brother? Li Xiang proudly said, of course my Fortune Gate has a total of 10 sect masters. 10. This time it was Zhang Qingxiao's turn to be stunned. After a long time, he squeezed out a jealous expression and said, the other 9 sect masters in your family have the same cultivation as your master? Li Xiang felt that this senior Zhang Qingxiao was quite interesting, so he smiled and said, some are stronger than master, some are weaker than master, but they are all supreme beings of the human race. Damn it! Zhang Qingxiao jumped to his feet and shouted, you're already a supreme of the human race, but you didn't even report to me. With a Fortune Gate like you, why would I embarrass the 100 Herbs Gate? Xiao Xianrui did not hesitate. She smiled and said, junior brother, since the Fortune Gate has such strength, there is no need for Shanghuaming to exist. However, I hope that you can leave the herb garden on Cherishing Flower Peak behind. I still have to wait for Lu, or to return there. Senior, please don't worry. Li Xiang understood and hurriedly said. Junior has already looked around. These mountain peaks are actually not suitable to be our fortune gate's base. Cough cough. Xiongyi hurriedly interrupted Li Xiang and said, the spiritual energy on these mountain peaks is the densest, but they are too small. Junior has already discussed with senior brother Li to send 100 disciples to the back of the mountain to search for a suitable place for our fortune gate's disciples to cultivate. Of course, we still have to consider how to lay out the sect's protective array, so senior need not worry. Junior will leave these mountain peaks as Shang Huaming's base. We will firmly protect this place. Hee, since that's the case, master won't care. We'll do as you say. Xiaohua was happy to hear this. This was a way to get the best of both worlds. How could he not support it? Let's start with Shang Huaming for master. Zhang Qingxiao suggested. He fell for Shang Huaming, we can't forget that. Good. Xiaohua clapped and said, second senior brother is right. Junior doesn't know any of the other ancestors. Master is more familiar. Thank you, second senior brother. Thank you, junior brother. Xiao Xianrui smiled and said to the two of them. A few hundred years was enough to dilute the sorrow of death. Xiaohua's heart skipped a beat, and he asked Li Xiang, where are Lu Qingyu and Yuehua? Oh, they're over there. Li Xiang raised his hand and pointed. Some disciples were exploring Yellow Flower Ridge, and Lu Qingyu was among them, but looking at Lu Qingyu's lazy appearance, there was nothing special. Xiaohua smiled and said, this guy's cultivation is a little slack. You have to supervise him more. Yes, disciple understands. Li Xiang answered. Forget it, you two go do your work. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, since our fortune gate wants to establish a sect here, there are many things to do. Yes. Li Xiang looked at Xiongyi, and the two of them said in unison. Master, please send out the Kunlun Immortal Domain's disciples. Xiaohua slapped his forehead and said, I forgot, this kind of thing was done by your martial uncle Lightning. Saying this, Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror, and under the urging of his magic power, a stream of Fortune Gate's disciples flew out from the light pillar. After Xiaohua sent out the Fortune Gate's disciples from the soaring Dragon Mountain range, Li Xiang and Xiongyi left with these disciples. Zhang Qingxiao sighed and said, Junior brother, you can dominate the Dawn Rain mainland. In the future, there won't be any Sword Dao war on the Dawn Rain mainland. If you, a Fortune Gate's disciple, go out, what bullshit 3 countries, what bullshit Huan countries sword cultivators, who would dare to say a word? Xiao Xianrui giggled and said, that's right. Sword cultivators and Dao cultivators won't fight anymore. Then there will be a war between the Fortune Gate and the Dao and sword cultivators. That's a matter for the future. Xiaohua waved his hand and said, Junior brother wants to know the current situation of the Dawn Rain mainland's Fortune Gate. Oh, you don't even know your own sect? Zhang Qingxiao asked curiously. You still need to ask us? Xiaohua nodded and said, speaking of which, I'm a little ashamed. When junior brother was at the Sword Tomb that day, it was just a spur-of-the-moment idea to give Zhong Haoren and the other Qi Refinement Realm disciples a place to stay, so I gave them some cultivation techniques and spirit stones to find a place to establish the Fortune Gate on the Dawn Rain mainland. But junior brother never imagined that it would be on such a scale now. This is what it means to plant flowers but not to grow, but to plant a willow unintentionally and the willow grows. Xiao Xianrui giggled and said, although I don't know the specific situation, I have heard some things about the Fortune Gate. It's said that this is an extremely mysterious sect. They are not from the same sect, but they all worship Taoist Xiao and call themselves Fortune Gate's disciples. Moreover, these sects' disciples' cultivation progress is extremely fast, so later on, many sects that aren't Fortune Gate also insist that they are Fortune Gate. Oh right, it seems that there is still a dispute between the real and fake Fortune Gate. Zhang Qingxiao didn't say much. He took out a few jade slips and handed them to Xiaohua, saying, all the information about the Fortune Gate is here. When the Fortune Gate first appeared, I didn't pay much attention, but when I heard that they were worshipping Taoist Xiao, I immediately thought of the grain seeds you ordered my heavenly demon sect to distribute. I had my disciples investigate, and sure enough, it was related to you, so I sent some disciples to infiltrate the fortune gate. This is all the information about the fortune gate. Sweat. Xiaohua received the jade slips and smiled wryly. Second senior brother really thinks highly of the fortune gate. However, Xiaohua understood the meaning of Zhang Qingxiao's words. He quickly stopped smiling wryly and respectfully saluted. Junior brother thanks second senior brother for protecting junior brother's reputation. And it's good that you understand. Zhang Qingxiao accepted Xiaohua's salute and said with a nod, but it's strange. The fortune gate should be an alliance, but there aren't many sinister people among them. There aren't any sinister people among them. Xiaohua had already sent his divine sense into the jade slips, saying coldly, when junior brother was in the sword tomb, I entrusted Zhong Haoran, Fei Yunshu, Zhong Zhan, Qinji, and Zhong Pei to take care of my storage pouch. Now other than Zhong Haoran and Fei Yunshu, the other three have betrayed the fortune gate. Moreover, Qinji and Zhong Pei's names aren't even mentioned in your jade slips. It's obvious that they took my storage pouch and fled halfway with Zhong Haoran. It's your fault, Zhang Qingxiao retorted. Who asked you to trust them so much? They're just qi refining disciples. Yet you gave them so many spirit stones and spiritual herbs. They'd be fools if they didn't run away. Zhong Haoran and Fei Yunshu are fools. Xiaohua harumphed coldly. They're stupid enough to become the fortune gate's gate chief. Their gate chief. I'm afraid he won't be able to sit still. Zhang Qingxiao said. Keep watching. That Zhong Zhan also established a fortune gate. He's competing with them on the same stage. Moreover, there are so many small sects that have raised the fortune gate's banner, and the fortune gate's influence is growing. Zhong Haoran and Fei Yunshu no longer have the strength to command this huge fortune gate. Listening to Zhang Qingxiao's words, Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at the jade slips, muttering under his breath. Chu Hong Sect, Cloud Pavilion Fort, Burning Crane Union, Fishing Isle, Heavenly Valiant Pavilion, Yen Sun Manor, Bright Wisdom Pavilion, Yuanfeng Stronghold. What kind of sects are these? Why do they all claim to be my fortune gate's disciples? That's right. Zhang Qingxiao laughed. Don't underestimate these small sects. Most of them were established by rogue cultivators. Over the years, the spiritual qi of heaven and earth had changed. The cultivation families had risen, and the cultivation sects had declined. Some individual cultivators had also obtained opportunities. They tried their best to establish small sects in the three kingdoms of cultivation, and even the Huan kingdom. These small sects looked very small, but if they were united, they would not be inferior to those real sects. Therefore, junior brother, you don't know, other than this daddy's heavenly demon sect, there are many other large sects that have the idea of establishing a fortune gate, all of them coveting Taoist Zhao's golden signboard. If it weren't for the fact that they don't know the art of transformation, or that Taoist Zhao's transformation couldn't deceive the fortune gate's disciples, they would have already transformed into your appearance to deceive the world. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote, vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, gift, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5105. You don't need to say that. Xiaohua sneered. Little brother already knew that there would be people who would disguise themselves as Taoist Xiao to deceive people. That's just a small trick. Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, there are more people who want to replace you. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Xiaohua put away the jade slip and said, our fortune gate is already preparing to establish a sect on the Dawn Rain mainland. These sects will merge into our fortune gate sooner or later. That's true. Zhang Qingxiao smiled and said, these small matters can be dealt with by your two disciples. It's not your turn to deal with them. Hee second senior brother, don't be impatient. Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said meaningfully, little brother knows that you want to meet our fortune gate's other masters, but now is not the right time. How about I introduce you to them after I'm done with my matters? Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes at Xiaohua and said, who said I want to meet them? Why would I want to meet them? Xiaohua smiled and ignored Zhang Qingxiao. He turned to Xiao Xianrui and asked, "Senior sister, do you remember when Master picked me up?" Xiao Xianrui smiled and said, "Do you still need to ask? Not to mention me, even second senior brother knows. I didn't ask Master in detail that year. You can tell me briefly." Xiaohua asked. Xiao Xianrui saw that Xiaohua was serious and told him what she knew. Then she asked, "Little junior brother, why are you suddenly asking about this today?" Zhang Qingxiao said, "When little junior brother was picked up by Master, he had already lost his memory. He suspected that his soul had been searched. Moreover, when he left the Donrain mainland, he was chased by two nascent soul cultivators. Xiao Xianrui's cultivation talent was not good, but she was still an intelligent person. When she heard this, she understood something and exclaimed, 'Could it be that two nascent soul cultivators joined hands to search his soul?' Xiaohua sneered and said, 'How could it be so simple? Not only was little brother's soul searched, even little brothers Dantian and Naiwan Palace were sealed. Damn it!' Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui's expression changed and she said angrily, 'Who is so hateful? Those two nascent soul cultivators? Although they are powerful, they are still not powerful enough to make millions of Meng Mountain's elders fear them.' Xiaohua replied, 'According to what little brother knows, it was done by at least two divinity-severing cultivators, spirit-severing stage adept.' Not to mention Xiao Xianrui, even Zhang Qingxiao was shocked. She asked curiously, 'Little junior brother, you weren't even at the first level of qi refining that day. How could two spirit-severing cultivators seal you?' Facing his two relatives, Xiaohua didn't hide anything and said, 'Because I'm not a cultivator from Donrain continent. I might have come from another world, other realms.' Zhang Qingxiao rolled her eyes and understood. She said, 'Your cultivation technique is different from the Donrain continent. You cultivate the Mudpill Palace and the Middle Dantian?' 'Not bad.' Xiaohua nodded and said, 'So little brother suspects that when I broke into the realm, I was unconscious because of the influence of the realm's law. That was why the two spirit-severing cultivators took advantage of me, and sealed me and searched my soul.' Xiao Xianrui also echoed, 'The problem is, little junior brother, I can understand why they searched your soul. I'm afraid they wanted to know where you came from. But why did they seal you? They're not your enemies, are they? If they were your enemies, they could have just killed them directly. Why would they let you go for no reason?' This is where little brother's doubts lie. Xiaohua looked at Zhang Qingxiao and said, 'Now I know that it was Shan Shitzi from Immortal Ascension Sect and Immortal Du Yi from Xianla Sect who chased after me. But I don't know who sent them, and I don't know the intention of those people behind the scenes. Just destroy Immortal Ascension Sect and Immortal La Sect,' Zhang Qingxiao suggested. 'It's better to let them go than to let them go.' Xiaohua rolled his eyes at Zhang Qingxiao and said, 'You know I won't do that.' Then we can only rack our brains to analyze the situation that day." Zhang Qingxiao shrugged and said, "The spirit-severing cultivators from the two big sects won't come out easily. Why did they join hands to deal with you, a little cultivator?" "Yes, how did father meet you that day?" Xiao Xianrui frowned as if she was thinking about something. But suddenly she looked at Zhang Qingxiao like thunder. Zhang Qingxiao's eyes naturally flashed with a strange color. The two of them said in unison, "Imperial Demon Valley. The battle between immortals and demons." "The battle between immortals and demons?" Xiaohua asked curiously. "Are you talking about the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley?" "Yes." Zhang Qingxiao thought of the Imperial Demon Valley, and seemed to have a feeling of connecting all thoughts. She clapped her hands and said, "It must be the battle between immortals and demons. Except for the battle between immortals and demons, there is no other thing in this world that can make the spirit-severing cultivators of the two big sects come out." Back then, Master went to the vicinity of the demon-resisting valley to see if there were any opportunities. However, his cultivation was shallow and his skin was thin, so he was too lazy to look for it. Thus, he returned empty-handed and picked you up on the way. And little brother, you must be a demon. It was in the battle between immortals and demons that you were injured and sealed by the two spirit-severing cultivators. Fortunately, you escaped from the Imperial Demon Valley. Otherwise, don't forget, how can you cultivate the cultivation method of my demon race faster than me? Xiaohua didn't know whether to laugh or cry and said, little brother is not a demon. This has been confirmed, but since second brother mentioned the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley, it is consistent with the time when little brother broke in. It must be during the battle between immortals and demons. Little brother broke into the Imperial Demon Valley and was discovered by the two spirit-severing cultivators. The question is, why did they seal little brother? Xiao Xianrui said, you have to ask the spirit-severing cultivators who participated in the battle between immortals and demons that day. However, what I want to ask is, how do you know that you broke in? Where did you come from? Where little brother came from, I'm not sure at the moment. Xiaohua shook his head and said, but little brother found spirit pets and magic tools that crossed over with little brother from other places in the Dawnrain continent, so little brother can be sure that he broke through the boundary and entered. If that's the case, then it's easy to handle. Zhang Qingxiao thought for a while and said, you only need to get the list of those who participated in the battle between immortals and demons in the Imperial Demon Valley that day, and know how many spirit-severing cultivators participated in the battle between immortals and demons in the Immortal Music Sect and Immortal Music Sect. Then, you will immediately know the truth of the matter. Where is the list? Xiaohua frowned. Zhang Qingxiao laughed and said, this matter is very difficult for others, but it is very easy for me. Oh, second brother is really resourceful. Xiaohua was surprised. Haha, little brother. You don't know, but I have a chess piece beside the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance. Zhang Qingxiao said proudly. This chess piece has seen you several times in the early years. Who? Xiaohua was surprised and asked. Why is there an Immortal Alliance in the Dawnrain continent? This person is called Zhang Zhihao, a confidant of the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance, Luo Xingtian. Zhang Qingxiao said. This Immortal Alliance usually has no use. It is used to mobilize troops in the great battle between immortals and demons. It is normal that you don't know. Zhang Zhihao. Xiaohua frowned and said, little brother seems to have killed a cultivator called Zhang Zhihao in the past. No way. Zhang Qingxiao was a bit stunned and immediately waved his hand and said, then it must be the same name. Wait a moment. I will send a message and let him find the list of those who participated in the great battle between immortals and demons. Xiaohua knew that this Zhang Zhihao must be a great secret of Zhang Qingxiao. In order to help him find the truth of the matter, Zhang Qingxiao sent a message at the risk of Zhang Zhihao being discovered, so Xiaohua hurriedly waved his hand and said, second brother, there is no need to be so anxious. How can I not be anxious? Zhang Qingxiao said. The news of you returning to the Dawnrain continent has not spread yet. When those spirit-severing cultivators with ulterior motives know of your strength, they will definitely hide the matter of that day. Don't think that your strength is already heaven-defying, but if it is just you, or your fortune gate, it may not be easy to find the truth of that day, so I have to get the list before them. After saying that, Zhang Qingxiao thought for a moment and said, I will go personally. Second brother. Seeing this, Xiaohua smiled and said, don't be anxious, little brother will go with you, little brother still has something to tell you. Zhang Qingxiao looked at Xiaohua and said, why are you in such a hurry? Stay here and accompany junior sister to talk for a while. No need, no need. Xiao Xianrui hurriedly waved her hand and said, you are all busy, I am alone. There are Fortune Gate disciples here to protect me. You don't have to worry. Okay. Zhang Qingxiao nodded and said, then you go and pass the sect master's order. Let the 100 Herbs Gate disciples submit to the Fortune Gate. Little junior brother and I will leave first. We will come back to see you when we have time. Okay. Xiao Xianrui agreed. After bidding farewell to Zhang Qingxiao and Zhang Qingxiao, she flew to the Vanishing Worship Peak. Xiaohua, Yuanya, and Zhang Qingxiao flew out of the Yellow Flower Ridge. They had only flown a little over 100 li when Xiaohua stopped. He thought for a moment and said, second senior brother, wait here for a while, little brother will be back soon. Where are you going? Zhang Qingxiao was a little confused. Why don't you hurry? Xiaohua smiled and said, just a while, little brother will be back soon. With that said, Xiaohua activated his space escape technique and flew away, leaving Yuanya to accompany Zhang Qingxiao. Yeah. Seeing that there was no problem, Zhang Qingxiao tried to find a topic. Who are your Fortune Gate sect master and 10 old masters? This. Yuanya was not as good at grasping opportunities as Xiong Yi. He was a little hesitant as he didn't know if Zhang Qingxiao knew these things. Seeing Yuanya's hesitation, Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, "If you can't say, then don't say." Yuanya answered, "Let's wait for master to come back and ask him." "Where did your master go?" Zhang Qingxiao asked, looking in the direction Xiaohua had flown. "That seems to be the direction of Jinghua City. Ah. Junior doesn't know." Of course Yuanya didn't know, so he answered blankly. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qijian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a gift, and thank you for all kinds of support. Chapter 5106. Not long after, Xiaohua turned around with a trace of disappointment on his face and said, "Let's go. Second senior brother, I've made up my mind. Come with me to Imperial Demon Valley first." Ha! Zhang Qingxiao was even more puzzled and asked, "Where did you go? Why did you change your mind as soon as you came back?" "It's nothing," Xiaohua said with a smile. Little brother suddenly remembered that there's a family surnamed Zhu in Jinghua City. It's little brother's old acquaintance. Little brother is going to take a look? Zhang Qingxiao understood and said with a smile, "It's been hundreds of years. Ordinary qi refining cultivators have already fallen. Not to mention ordinary families. I'm afraid you won't be able to find any traces of them anymore, right?" "Indeed." Xiaohua nodded with disappointment and replied, "So little brother feels that things in this world are impermanent. Some things that should be done earlier. Then why are we going to Imperial Demon Valley?" Zhang Qingxiao asked. "Second senior brother, you'll know when you get there." Xiaohua didn't explain and only urged. After flying for a while, Zhang Qingxiao suddenly realized something. He looked at Xiaohua and said meaningfully, "Little junior brother, you want me to accompany you to Imperial Demon Valley? Is it because you don't know the way to Imperial Demon Valley?" "Haha." Xiaohua laughed and replied shamelessly, "The one who knows Xiaohua is Zhang Qingxiao. If second senior brother doesn't take little brother with you, when can little brother find Imperial Demon Valley?" Cough cough. Zhang Qingxiao almost coughed out his tongue. He helplessly pointed in a direction and said, "Little junior brother, can you not be so bored? Imperial Demon Valley is over there. You have Yuanyu accompanying you. Why can't you find it? Let's go. I asked you to lead the way and you're still so long-winded." Xiaohua pretended to be unhappy. He grabbed Zhang Qingxiao with his big hand and his figure swayed. The sound of thunder faintly came from the void. His figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. When he reappeared, he was already on top of a mountain range. This was a towering mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles. This mountain range was very strange. There were no trees on the mountain range, no birds or beasts, only crimson red rocks. The surface of the mountain gave off a faint glow, and within the glow, countless talismans slowly rotated. However, although the talisman flowed like water, there were many places where the talisman was missing. When the radiance of the talisman flowed to these places, it was as if it had hit a reef. It would either stop or turn around. It wasn't particularly smooth. It was noon, and the sun was hanging high in the sky. The blazing sunlight shone on the crimson-red mountain rocks, giving rise to light. This brilliance was different from the brilliance of the talisman. It swayed with the wind, like a burning flame. Above the mountain range, high up in the sky, there was no wind or clouds. The layers of void were filled with a faint grayish-white color, which seemed to be the traces left behind by the battle between immortals and demons. Within this grayish-white color, there were black clouds that looked like mountain ranges. Of course, these black clouds had already been torn apart. They were like rocks in the waves, and they were scattered and condensed within. Even the faint sound of thunder could be heard in the void. Traces of lightning were like candles in the night, faintly discernible. This must be the Imperial Demon Valley. Although Xiaohua had never been to the Imperial Demon Valley, He already understood when he saw the remaining restrictions between the mountain peak and the sky. Zhang Qingxiao stood still and looked around. He raised his hand and pointed at the end of the mountain range. That is the entrance to the Imperial Demon Valley. It is said that during the battle, there were thousands of human cultivators guarding it. Now, there are only some disciples of the Immortal Alliance patrolling it. Back then, I was curious and came to take a look. However, the Immortal Alliance disciples were very powerful, so I didn't dare to get too close. Xiaohua nodded slightly and looked at the end of the mountain range. There was a valley entrance that was hundreds of feet wide. The valley entrance was different from the mountain range. Now it was firmly sealed by a strong formation, and not a trace of birds or beasts could be seen. The strong fluctuations of the formation spread out without any concealment, as if warning the approaching cultivators. At this moment, at the entrance of the valley, there were more than a dozen gold core cultivators wearing different clothes and holding different magic treasures in their hands. The 10+ gold core realm cultivators seemed to have a division of labor. 4 of them were guarding the entrance of the valley, while the other 10 gold core realm cultivators were flying in a seemingly disorderly manner in the sky in the shape of a battle array. After 5 minutes, another 5 gold core realm cultivators flew out of the battle array and flew towards where Xiaohua was standing by airboat along the direction of the mountain range. There is a detection magic treasure on this flying boat. It is extremely sensitive. Zhang Qingxiao reminded. Before he finished speaking, Zhang Qingxiao felt a flash of light and shadow in front of him, and his body became light. When he opened his eyes again, he was already standing in the valley. The space inside the valley was far more spacious than what it looked like outside the valley. It was probably several miles wide and narrow. The stone walls inside the valley were different from the stone walls outside the valley. Although they were both red rocks and had layers of restrictions, the restrictions here were more than 10 times finer than those outside the valley. There were fine lines where the runes rolled up, and those fine lines set off wind patterns. The wind patterns rushed into the runes, and once again, they emitted a variety of brilliance. In the valley, there were countless brilliances like dim candles under the sun. Just like outside the mountain range, most of the restrictions were broken, and the brilliance in many places had been extinguished. In particular, where the brilliance was extinguished, there was a black-red color that covered the entire mountain. This black-red color covered the entire stone walls of the valley, and its thickness was different. Xiaohua's nose twitched slightly, and a strong smell of blood immediately rushed in. It was obvious that this black-red color was dyed by the blood that splashed on the stone walls. Alas, it has been nearly 1,000 years. Why is it still so bloody? Xiaohua said as he looked into the depths of the valley. The stone walls of the valley seemed to have been completely washed by blood. It was a black-red color and it was very strange. Although it was Zhang Qingxiao's first time entering the Imperial Demon Valley, some of the memories he inherited faintly appeared. He said faintly, "If it was just once or twice, it naturally wouldn't be so bloody. But don't forget, every time the Great War of Immortals and Demons took place in the Imperial Demon Valley, and even outside the mountain range. On the stone walls of the Imperial Demon Valley, every inch of the mountain rock was splashed with the blood of millions of demons and humans. The blood has already soaked the mountain rocks and the talismans." Xiaohua sighed and looked into the valley. The valley was very calm, and there was even some wind, but the smell of blood in the air was still very strong. The yuan qi of heaven and earth in the Imperial Demon Valley was very rich, and at the same time, it was also very tyrannical. Occasionally, in an unknown place in the distance, pung 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 sounds of explosions could be heard. Following the explosions, a strong small storm suddenly formed and rushed in all directions. Most of it hit the mountain rocks of the mountain range. On the crimson-red mountain rocks, the talismans flashed, and the storm that hit them disappeared without a trace. Even the black-red blood didn't fall down. Just like Zhang Qingxiao said, it was unknown how much blood had been spilled on it, and it was unknown how many years this blood had existed. Xiaohua took Zhang Qingxiao and Yuanya and slowly flew into the valley. An indescribable pressure came from the black-red mountain rocks, from the gray-black sky, and through their bodies, it fell deep into their hearts. "Be careful." Xiaohua suddenly raised his hand and struck Zhang Qingxiao's right side. A spatial crack strangely appeared there, and fell towards Zhang Qingxiao's shoulder. Xiao Hua's punch just happened to land on the spatial crack. With a gotcha sound, the spatial crack, along with the surrounding several zhang of space, shattered. That was close. Zhang Qingxiao was a little shocked. He understood in his heart that he didn't notice the spatial crack at all. If he was hit by it, even if he didn't die, he would lose half his life. Not only that, when Xiao Hua shattered a part of the void, the nearby space, which was already unstable because of the battle, immediately reacted. Ka. Hundreds of spatial cracks appeared one after another. These spatial cracks appeared for an extremely short period of time, disappearing in a flash, but their destructive power was very strong. Occasionally, a spatial crack would hit the mountain rocks, and the blood on the mountain rocks would scatter, like the layer of soil on the rocks. Then the talismans on the mountain rocks would collapse, revealing the crimson-red mountain rocks. Only when the spatial cracks disappeared did the talismans around the mountain rocks slowly gather, gradually restoring the array. Let's go. Seeing the spatial rifts closing in on them, Xiao Hua grabbed Zhang Qingxiao and shot into the depths of the valley. As they flew through the air, more spatial rifts appeared, but when they landed on Xiao Hua's golden body, they were nothing more than cotton wool. Xiao Hua flew all the way to the bottom of the valley. Everywhere he passed by had been cleaned up by Dao cultivators, but even so, there were still some remnants. Some were black bones, some were crimson remains, and so on. The deepest part of the valley was a place with a radius of 10,000 feet. This space was filled with the power of the world that Xiao Hua was familiar with. Layer after layer of violent and bloodthirsty laws of heaven and earth seeped out from the space like wind threads. Moreover, behind these wind threads, there was a huge black and red fog. It was like a giant silkworm cocoon that was shackled by the strong power of the world. The fog violently tumbled behind the laws of the world. Within the black and red fog, there were countless severed limbs that moved up and down from time to time. There were even some wailing heads that suddenly appeared and let out silent screams. Xiao Hua stood still and frowned slightly. He had already seen the barrier between the two worlds with his naked eye, and saw the center of the black and red fog. The core of the black and red fog was no longer fog, but extremely condensed. Drops of sticky blood mixed with the black flames slowly flowed in the center. The black flames surrounded a hole that was smaller than a thumb. Almost endless black gas and black flames overflowed from this hole. Because of the existence of the barrier between the two worlds, the black gas and black flames were unable to rush out, so they condensed at the core. Waves of obscure and indescribable sobbing sounds faintly came from this hole. In addition to the black gas and sobbing sounds, the depths of the hole were filled with blood-red light. It was impossible to see what was inside at all. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, give it a tip, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5107. At this moment, in this thumb-sized hole, countless thunderclaps resounded in the void, flashing with endless lightning. Wave after wave of slow, unparalleled, inhuman force emerged from the center of this hole, and spread out in all directions. Under the power of this space, this hole was expanding bit by bit. Just as Zhang Qingxiao stood between the barrier between the human world and the devil world, the aura mixed with the laws of heaven and earth of the devil world enveloped him. Ao. Black gas and devil flames appeared around Zhang Qingxiao's body, and he could no longer maintain his human form. His body melted like water, but just as he was about to reveal the devil body of the Diluo beast, Zhang Qingxiao roared in a low voice and quickly retreated. As he broke away from the laws of heaven and earth of the devil world, Zhang Qingxiao's human form slowly appeared again. However, at this time, Zhang Qingxiao's face was pale, blood was flowing from his lips, and his eyes were filled with fear and unwillingness. Xiao Hua, Zhang Qingxiao said coldly. You brought me here in good faith. Why did you bring me here? Could it be that you want to see my original devil body? Xiao Hua raised the corner of his mouth and said indifferently, It's not like I haven't seen your devil body of the Diluo beast. Damn it. Hearing Xiao Hua mention the Diluo beast, Zhang Qingxiao's face became ferocious. He cursed in a low voice and shouted, I know I'm a Luo beast, so what? Second senior brother. Xiao Hua's face became gentle, and he said in a low voice, in your heart, is it that you still haven't let go of senior sister? Who said that? Zhang Qingxiao sneered. I have the heavenly demon sect, and there are countless devil concubines in the sect. I can favor whoever I want. Besides, I also have Yutong. Why are you still thinking about that withered woman at this time? Alas! Xiao Hua looked at Zhang Qingxiao, who was trying her best to disguise herself, and sighed. Second martial brother, once you've crossed the blue ocean, it's no longer water. Apart from Mount Wu, it's no longer clouds. You're the same as Li Zongbao. You're both people with deep emotions. It's just that Li Zongbao is clean and upright, while you are reluctant to part with flowers and cover up the depression in your heart. I can't compare to you. Bullshit. Zhang Qingxiao jumped up and said, I'm not a sentimental person. I just like women. Don't compare me with that old white man. Beside him is Guyu, who is as beautiful as a flower. His heart is only thinking about the dead person in the crystal coffin. What's the use? I don't know if it's useful or not, but I do know that your performance is different from his, but the essence is the same. Xiao Hua said with a smile. The more Zhang Qingxiao was angry, the more it showed that he had a guilty conscience. Bullsh *T. Zhang Qingxiao scolded again. If you have the ability, find someone to resurrect the dead man. If you want Li Zongbao to marry that dead woman, I will admit it. You admit it, right? Xiao Hua immediately caught Zhang Qingxiao's faulty wording and laughed. I refuse to admit it. Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, I only said to resurrect the dead man and solve Li Baita's problem. I'm the most handsome man in the world. How can I be compared to that old man Li Zongbao? Yeah. Xiao Hua spread out his hands and said helplessly, Little brother has already solved Li Zongbao's problem, so I came to help you. Don't stubbornly hold on. How is that possible? Zhang Qingxiao was disdainful and said with a sneer, Are you lying to me? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old boy? Wanting to resurrect the dead, not to mention you. Even immortals can't do it. Speaking until here, Zhang Qingxiao suddenly stared blankly as if he thought of something. He stood on the ground in disbelief and looked at Xiao Hua. You remember now? Xiao Hua smiled and said, In Yi Yin's message, although he didn't say that he met little brother, didn't he mention Liang's Kai family? Impossible? Zhang Qingxiao was flabbergasted and said, Little junior brother, are you a god? You actually resurrected Kai Wuxia, that dead person? Actually, Kai Wuxia didn't really die. Xiao Hua explained. Her soul was just a little scattered, and little brother happened to have this divine ability. So others may think she was a dead person, but with little brother's divine ability, she was resurrected. Then, Zhang Qingxiao naturally thought of Xiao Yuehang. Unfortunately, before he could finish, Xiao Hua immediately interrupted him and said, Master and eldest senior brother have indeed died. And it's been too long since they died. I can't do anything, and I don't have that divine ability. Sigh. Zhang Qingxiao sighed. Suddenly, his body went limp and he collapsed on the ground. Xiao Hua hurriedly flew over and wanted to help Zhang Qingxiao up, but Zhang Qingxiao waved his hand and said, Little junior brother, don't help me up first. Let me rest on the ground for a while more. I'm really tired. Now that Shang Huaming has you, I can finally rest. Hearing Zhang Qingxiao's words, Xiao Hua's nose turned sour. He retracted his hand and simply lay on the ground. At this time, although there was no blue sky and white clouds, no grassland, and although there was a lot of blood and hostility, with such a brother accompanying him, this warmth was not inferior to any family affection in the world. After a while, Xiao Hua said, Previously, little brother always felt that master was too lazy, always sitting on the small boat and not cultivating. Now I know that master's life is the life a cultivator should live. What a pity. Zhang Qingxiao also sighed and said, Master is a good cultivator, but he's not a qualified sect leader. Moreover, Shang Huaming's luck is too bad. I actually encountered 3 nascent soul cultivators coveting me. Forget it, let's not talk about this. I'll leave this blood feud to you. I don't have to work so hard to break into the Shanghua sect and kill Sun Yunzi anymore. I know, second senior brother. Leave this matter to little brother. Xiaohua replied word by word. Sun Yunzi must die. Let's forget about the Shanghua sect. Up to you. Zhang Qingxiao's eyes were closed as if he was asleep. He said in a low voice. Actually, you don't know, my temper is even lazier than Master's. If it weren't for Master's supervision, I wouldn't even be able to compare to junior sister's cultivation. However, since Shang Huaming's sect has been destroyed, only 2.5 disciples are left. As the second senior brother, I can only hide my lazy temper and use my own strength to protect you. Over the past 700 years, I've done everything I can. This blood feud is like a mountain pressing down on my shoulders. I know that I won't be able to avenge Master and eldest apprentice brother for the rest of my life, but I've risked my life to cultivate. I've risked my life to expand my heavenly demon sect. I sometimes want to slack off, but my abilities are limited. I've protected you and junior apprentice sister. It's already very good that the three of us, Song Huaming, are able to live a good life. But when I think of Master's death and eldest senior brother's death, I can't stop the hatred in my heart. Shang Huaming and Yellow Flower Ridge have completely occupied my childhood memories. 3 nascent soul cultivators ruthlessly destroyed my memories and wiped out my happiness. How can I let them live in this world? Yes, I know, second senior brother. Xiaohua reached out and patted Zhang Qingxiao. Zhang Qingxiao didn't open her eyes and continued to murmur, "Little junior brother, you're right. Every sentence and every word just now pierced my heart. I like junior sister, an unforgettable love engraved in my heart. Even now, as long as junior sister says she's willing to be with me, I can abandon everything. However, I also know that junior sister likes that Jiang Fan, although Jiang Fan is already dead. When I was young, junior sister's affection for me was more than love. Now junior sister's gratitude towards me is still more than love. Of course, I also know that at this time, if I say the words in my heart, junior sister will definitely walk with me and spend the rest of her life with me. However, she also felt guilty. This guilt was towards me, and also towards Jiang Fan. Instead of letting her feel guilty, why should I force her? The most important thing. Zhang Qingxiao was silent for a moment, and finally said, I'm no longer a human. I thought that with my will, I could be stronger than the Di Luo beast that possessed me. But I underestimated the devil marks of the devil race. I've gradually become a devil. How can I let the person I love see my ugly side? Loving her doesn't necessarily mean having her. Loving her and giving her happiness is enough. Junior sister is the love of my life. I want to make her happy in this life. Little junior brother, I know you asked me to come to this Imperial Devil Valley to tell me that my time as a human is not long. In fact, I already knew this. I went to Yellow Flower Ridge this time to see the person I love for the last time. I don't want her to see me. I just want to see her eyes, her eyebrows, and even the wrinkles on her face. I like them all. Alas, unfortunately, I don't have a chance to kiss her in this life. This extravagant hope can only wait for the next life. Just as Zhang Qingxiao said this, suddenly, 2 slightly hot lips touched his lips, and 2 drops of cold liquid dripped on his face at the same time. Damn it! Zhang Qingxiao was shocked. He was about to push the person away, but how could the warm tongue and the familiar fragrance in his mouth and nose be Xiaohua? Zhang Qingxiao opened his eyes. Xiao Xianrui's flower-like face gradually blushed. Her pair of eyes had long been closed. Her long eyelashes were like frightened dragonflies, trembling rapidly. Buzz. A kind of incomparable happiness drowned Zhang Qingxiao like a tide. As the old saying goes, happy times are always short. Seeing the sun set in the west, and the Imperial Devil Valley was full of bloody light, Zhang Qingxiao reluctantly let go of Xiao Xianrui in his arms. Xiaohua and Yuanyan naturally wouldn't stay by his side. Zhang Qingxiao looked around and asked in a low voice, Junior sister, how did you come here? After you and little junior brother left, I just finished instructing the disciples of 100 Herbs Gate. Before I could return to the medicine garden, I was pulled here out of thin air, and then... Xiao Xianrui naturally knew that this was Xiaohua's trick. She couldn't help but blush and lower her head. How could any woman in the world not be moved in front of such an infatuated man? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward, and thank all forms of support. Chapter 5108. This guy. Zhang Qingxiao smiled bitterly, but her heart was also filled with sweetness. Cough cough. Xiao Hua's cough came from afar. Xiao Xianrui, like a frightened bird, hurriedly turned her head and hid her face beside Zhang Qingxiao. How was she like a mother? So embarrassing. Zhang Qingxiao looked at Xiao Hua who was flying over, and said helplessly. But Xiao Hua didn't laugh. Instead he said seriously, "Second senior brother, senior sister, time is short. We don't have much time left. In this world, most misunderstandings and undesired things are caused by not speaking clearly. Although little brother's actions were extremely reckless, little brother had no other choice. Please forgive me." Xiao Xianrui tried hard to turn her head, but in the end she couldn't. Zhang Qingxiao waved her hand and said, "Get up, I forgive you." "Thank you, second senior brother." Xiao Hua got up, looked around and said, "Senior sister, please don't worry. Today's matter is known to the heavens and the earth, including the three of us. My disciple has already been taken into the Kunlun immortal realm. He can't know." Xiao Xianrui was stunned, and somewhat puzzled, turned her head and asked curiously, "Little junior brother, what do you mean?" "It's very simple." Xiao Hua replied, "Second senior brother really doesn't have much time. He will soon turn into a devil. After he turns into a devil, he will definitely not let you see him, and little brother also advises you not to see him again. Just treat him as if he is already dead." Xiao Xianrui bit her lips. She had let go because of Xiao Hua's appearance, but she once again held Zhang Qingxiao's hand, although the palm of her hand was cold. "Second senior brother is going. I naturally have to go too," Xiao Hua said, "so no one will know about this matter." "You are going too?" Xiao Xianrui was even more puzzled. Aren't you the master of Fortune Gate? Where are you going?" "Junior sister." Zhang Qingxiao was shocked and looked at Xiao Xianrui with some heartache. The place he is going is naturally the place all cultivators dream of. Immortal realm? Xiao Xianrui was so surprised that her mouth couldn't close, and then she was even more overjoyed and said, "I understand. Congratulations, little junior brother." "That's right." Xiao Hua finally smiled and said, "Since little brother is going to leave, I can't leave behind any regrets." Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui looked at Zhang Qingxiao, hugged Zhang Qingxiao's arm and said, "I understand. Second senior brother and I have no regrets." "That's good." Xiao Hua nodded. Little brother still has something to discuss with second senior brother. "Senior sister, you can go back first." "Okay." Hearing this, Xiao Xianrui naturally pulled her hand out of Zhang Qingxiao's arm. But just as she pulled her hand out, her eyes were filled with sadness. She opened her arms and hugged Zhang Qingxiao. Her eyes were filled with tears, and Zhang Qingxiao's chest was wet. Sigh. Zhang Qingxiao sighed and held Xiao Xianrui in his arms. After a meal, the two of them separated again. The two of them understood that today was the beginning and also the end. In this life, their fate would only last for a few hours. However, in just a few hours, the two of them were already satisfied. Their minds were connected like water flowing through a canal, and they were naturally connected. Xiao Hua didn't delay. He took out the Kunlun mirror, and the Fengwu flew out. Xiao Hua cupped his hands and said, "I'll have to trouble you to send her back again." "No problem." The Fengwu grabbed with its claws. Zhang Qingxiao felt as if the world was closed. The huge force was far beyond his imagination. It was really like fate was ruthless. Xiao Xianrui was forcefully snatched from his arms by the Fengwu. He opened his mouth wanting to say something, but nothing came out. Xiao Xianrui was the same. Only 2 lines of tears and a pair of delicate hands were left in Zhang Qingxiao's eyes. "No need to look," Xiao Hua said with a smile. "If you want to look, you can go to the herb garden on Xihua Peak." "Ah." Zhang Qingxiao was stunned and said, "Didn't you say that I don't have enough time?" "I said that you don't have enough time," Xiao Hua said with a smile, "but as long as little brother doesn't ascend, 8 or 10 years is no problem. Damn it. Zhang Qingxiao looked a little angry. He slapped Xiaohua's shoulder and shouted, "You dare to tease me? I'm not exaggerating." The Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand slowly rotated, just like the jade ball in Zhang Qingxiao's hand. You are now at the crucial point of transforming into a devil. Only when you understand the mortal world's long-cherished wish can you truly become a devil. Zhang Qingxiao ignored Xiaohua and asked in a low voice, "Who was that demonic beast just now? Why is he so powerful?" "Didn't you want to see my Fortune Gate's patriarchs?" Xiaohua replied. "How come after seeing them, you've become Lord Ye's dragon?" "Ah, he's a demonic beast, ah. He's actually your Fortune Gate's patriarchs?" Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded. He had thought that the Fortune Gate's 10 patriarchs were all humans. Xiaohua didn't stop until he was shocked to death. "More than that, my Fortune Gate's 9th patriarch is also a devil." With that said, the Kunlun mirror in Xiaohua's hand was activated. Devil Qi roiled and devil flames covered the sky as an Archdevil Lord stepped out from the Kunlun mirror. "Devil? Devil Lord? Archdevil Lord? Archdevil Lord?" Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded. The devil aura around Archdevil Lord Shi was too vast. With Zhang Qingxiao's current strength, he couldn't estimate Archdevil Lord Shi's strength. "Huh?" Archdevil Lord Shi laughed loudly. "This father is called Archdevil Lord Shi. I am the Fortune Gate's 9th patriarch. Greetings, Lord Archdevil Lord." Zhang Qingxiao didn't dare to slight Archdevil Lord Shi, and hurriedly knelt down. He understood that because of Xiaohua's existence, Archdevil Lord Shi had concealed his aura. Otherwise, the moment he saw Archdevil Lord Shi, not only would he have reverted to his true form, he would also have collapsed to the ground. "Get up." Archdevil Lord Shi laughed as he helped Zhang Qingxiao up. "This father has heard about you from fellow Taoist Xiao. Since your human body is fated to be with fellow Taoist Xiao, this father will reluctantly accept you." "No, it can't be right." Zhang Qingxiao's body trembled. He couldn't believe it, but he understood that this was Archdevil Lord Shi's purpose in coming out. Thus, after a brief moment of shock, he knelt down again and kowtowed 9 times. "Disciple greets master." "Get up." Archdevil Lord Shi could only help Zhang Qingxiao up again and said, "However, you can only be this old man's second disciple." Yes. Zhang Qingxiao nodded excitedly. To be able to become master's disciple is already very happy. Disciple doesn't care about the order. That's good. Archdevil Lord Shi saw this and opened his mouth. As demonic qi surged, the dragon Yinlu landed in front of Zhang Qingxiao and said, "This is the dragon Yinlu. Fellow Taoist Xiao asked this father to repair it. Today, I will bestow it to you." Zhang Qingxiao received the dragon Yinlu and was even more delighted. "Thank you, master, for your generous gift. After this item, there are even better things for you." Archdevil Lord Shi thought for a moment and said, "However, this item can't be used in the Dawn Rain continent. You can only use it after you reach the demon realm and completely recover your demonic body." Yes, disciple is already very happy with this demonic artifact. Zhang Qingxiao smiled. "As for the other things, master can bestow them as you see fit." Archdevil Lord Shi looked at Xiaohua and said, "Big brother, can I show him that item?" Xiaohua shrugged and said, "This is between you and your disciple. It has nothing to do with I." "All right." Archdevil Lord Shi smiled and said to Zhang Qingxiao, "Our demon race doesn't have so many scruples. This father will let you see the world first and know what you have to do in the future. Don't belittle yourself." Seeing Archdevil Lord Shi actually say belittle himself, Xiaohua couldn't help but curl his lips, thinking to himself, he's actually like the Thunder Immortal, dropping his book bag. While Zhang Qingxiao was still in absolute shock, the demon venerable Shijiang opened his mouth. Inside the fist-sized magic crystal, the broken body of the demon venerable Ju of the West Slaying Demon region appeared. Although it was separated by the magic crystal, the aura that was similar to the demon mark origin still made Zhang Qingxiao feel very close to it. "Master." After Zhang Qingxiao recovered from her shock, she prostrated herself on the ground and shouted, "Disciple will definitely not have any thoughts of inferiority. disciple will definitely cultivate to the Demon Lord realm. Haha. Archdevil Lord sure swallowed the demonic crystal and clapped his hands. That's good. I estimate that I can only take in 7 disciples. So far, these 2 disciples have the hope of cultivating to the Demon Lord realm. At that time, they will also be legends in the demon realm. Ah. Zhang Qingxiao was stunned and asked curiously, Senior brother is also a demon lord? How? Archdevil Lord sure glared and said unhappily, What? Is the demon lord not valuable now? Hee, disciple does have this kind of feeling. Zhang Qingxiao replied with a smile. Second senior brother. Xiaohua hurriedly said, Your master's first disciple is the demon dragon that I told you before. Demon dragon? Zhang Qingxiao was dumbfounded and said, No way. I thought you were joking with me. Huh. Archdevil Lord sure laughed and raised his hand to point at Zhang Qingxiao saying, You can be considered a lucky person. With Dragon Shensi becoming a demon in front of you. In the future, when you become a demon, there will be someone to guide you. With that, Xiaohua activated the Kunlun mirror. Within the pillar of light, Dragon Shensi's half-human half-dragon demon body appeared, and a demon aura that was as hard to measure as Zhang Qingxiao's rushed out. Oh my, this is that demon dragon. It is indeed powerful. Zhang Qingxiao was secretly speechless, and thought to himself, If I have this kind of master, won't I be able to do whatever I want in the demon realm in the future? Dragon Shensi's demon body landed in the air, and his tightly closed eyes opened for a moment. Looking at the barrier of the demon realm, he said in a low voice, Master, are you going to break the barrier? No. Archdevil Lord sure replied cleanly, I have taken in another disciple, let me show you. Oh. Dragon Shensi's dragon eyes turned, sweeping past Xiaohua and looking at Zhang Qingxiao. Zhang Qingxiao's original demon body naturally could not be hidden from Dragon Shensi. Dragon Shensi's eyes flashed with contempt for no reason, and he replied, Greetings, junior brother, I am currently transforming my demon body, so I cannot greet you. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a month, vote for a recommendation, collect, reward. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5109. Zhang Qingxiao's heart was filled with shame and anger, but he knew better than anyone that he deserved this kind of disdain. No matter how he looked at it, he couldn't compare to Long Shensi. If he wanted respect, he could only cultivate. Reach the realm of Demon Lord. Therefore Zhang Qingxiao put away his shame and anger, and bowed calmly. Little brother Zhang Qingxiao greets senior brother. And Long Shensi nodded and said, Wait until I finish reconstructing my demon body. Then I will pass on everything I have comprehended to junior brother. Little brother thanks senior brother. Zhang Qingxiao didn't dare to delay and bowed again. Master. Long Shensi closed his eyes and said, Disciple is now at a critical moment. If there is nothing special, please don't disturb disciple. Also, if possible, please go to the demon world as soon as possible. Disciple has already sensed that the nearby demon chi is not enough to support disciple's recovery. Lousy knows. Demon Lord sure replied. Xiaohua activated Kunlun mirror, and kept Long Shensi. Once Long Shensi left, Zhang Qingxiao curled his lips and said, Master, where did you get this disciple? Why is he so arrogant? Demon Lord sure laughed and said, Can't help it, he is. Speaking until here, Xiaohua interrupted Demon Lord sure and said, Second senior brother, his background is more noble than yours. You don't have to ask too much, just be yourself. Yes, Lousy understands. After Zhang Qingxiao said lousy, he regretted it. If Demon Lord sure wasn't here, he would have called him lousy. But he called Demon Lord sure his master, and Demon Lord sure called Xiaohua big brother. If he still called himself lousy in front of Xiaohua, wouldn't it be taking advantage of his seniority? Luckily, Xiaohua didn't mind and said, Also, you saw it too, the demon race is different from the human race. It is based on strength. Your master can't be too protective of you. You must know how to be patient. Don't worry, I understand. Zhang Qingxiao knew Xiaohua's painstaking efforts and promised, I will let them see me in a new light. Demon Lord Shi spat out a jade slip from his mouth and handed it to Zhang Qingxiao. These are some simple cultivation techniques, and also the comprehension of the demon body. Take this time to look at it carefully. Thank you, master. Zhang Qingxiao took it, but before she could take a look at it, she felt an aura surging from the side. Zhang Qingxiao hurriedly turned around, only to see Feng Wu flying in from outside the valley. So fast. Zhang Qingxiao was somewhat worried. She looked at Xiao Hua and asked in a low voice, "Have you already sent junior sister here?" "Yes." Xiao Hua nodded, and then he said to Feng Wu, "Since fellow Taoist has returned, then there's no need to trouble fellow Taoist to send Zhang Qingxiao away as well." After saying that, Xiao Hua turned his head and asked Zhang Qingxiao, "Where is second senior brother going? Let my Fortune Gate's fifth old master accompany you." I wouldn't dare. Hearing this, Zhang Qingxiao was shocked and hurriedly waved her hand. "Don't mention it. You still have to find a list of enemies for fellow Taoist Xiao. The sooner the better." Feng Wu replied with a smile. "Since that's the case, I'll have to trouble you, senior." Zhang Qingxiao was not pretentious and said to Xiao Hua, "Little junior brother, I will go back and personally look for Zhang Jihao. I will stay near him and wait for this list." "All right." Xiao Hua nodded and replied, "Don't make it too difficult. If you can't find it, then forget it. This is just a small matter." "Brother understands," Zhang Qingxiao said and put away the Qiu Yinlu. Just as she was about to leave, Xiao Hua suddenly thought of something and slapped his forehead. "That's right, little brother forgot an extremely important thing." "Oh, what is it?" Zhang Qingxiao stopped and looked at Xiao Hua strangely. Xiao Hua looked into Zhang Qingxiao's eyes and spat out two words, "Ji Peng." Damn it. Zhang Qingxiao's expression changed greatly. Obviously, this Ji Peng was a knot in her heart. Ji Peng already has the strength of a devil commander. Xiao Hua was well aware of the change in Zhang Qingxiao's heart. He smiled and said, "Moreover, he also borrowed the body of Du Peng, a spirit-severing cultivator from Defeat You Immortal Union. This time, he followed little brother through millions of Meng mountains to Dawn Rain mainland. Little brother originally planned to kill him when we reached Dawn Rain mainland. However, I didn't expect an accident to happen. He came here first and I don't know where he is now. Little brother wanted to tell you before, but seeing that your emotions were unstable, you didn't dare to speak. Today you will be traveling alone, so you need to be careful." "Brother understands." Zhang Qingxiao panicked for a moment before calming down and said, "Although brother's strength is not as strong as Ji Peng, with the Qiu Yinlu in my hands, how can I be afraid of him?" "Let Yuanya come with us," Xiao Hua said, and was about to activate the Kunlun mirror. "Please don't." Zhang Qingxiao stared at Xiao Hua and said, "I still need to bid farewell to Yutong and the others. How do you want me to bid farewell to a Dao Cultivator Senior?" "Haha." Demon Venerable Shi laughed loudly. He raised his hand and a strand of demonic energy entered Zhang Qingxiao's forehead. He said, "Daddy will release a demonic view for you. If you are in any danger, just activate your demonic energy. Daddy will rush over as soon as possible." Then, seeing that Demon Venerable Shi released the demonic view without discussing with him, Zhang Qingxiao was helpless. He nodded and said, "Then disciple thanks master." "Go." Demon Venerable Shi waved his hand, and Zhang Qingxiao followed Feng Wu. Demon Venerable Shi looked at Zhang Qingxiao's back and laughed. "This kid is interesting. If Daddy told him that there was Daddy's clone in that demonic energy, he probably wouldn't agree, right?" "That's right. Taking him as a disciple is much more interesting than Long Shenxi," Xiao Hua said and looked at the barrier of the demon realm. "When you reach the demon realm, you won't feel bored." "Indeed." Demon Venerable Shi nodded. Long Shenxi has been in a high position for a long time. If not for the situation forcing him, he wouldn't have lowered his head to you and me, much less take me as his master. Xiao Hua squinted his eyes and looked at the demonic energy behind the barrier of the two realms. He didn't speak for a long time. After a long while, he opened his mouth and said faintly, "There is no such thing as master and disciple in the demon realm. Long Shenxi's instincts are still demonic. However, you don't have to care too much about it. Long Shensi should be trustworthy. Demon Venerable Shi shrugged and replied, I don't care if he is trustworthy or not. I am only borrowing the demon realm to fly to the demon swamp. Demon swamp, demon swamp. That is a taboo place no matter if it is the immortal realm, heavenly court or Buddha kingdom. Little brother is really looking forward to it. I don't know what surprises are waiting for little brother there. After speaking, Demon Venerable Shi looked around and said with disdain, As for this place, it is only a small crack between the demon realm and Dawn Rain continent. Those who can pass through this crack to reach Dawn Rain continent are only some unremarkable demons in the demon realm. Dawn Rain continent's cultivators dare to say that this is a great war between immortals and demons. If Lin continent's cultivators heard this, wouldn't they laugh their heads off? What demon-resisting valley? Xiaohua disagreed and said, Back then, in the eyes of nascent soul cultivators and above, the Sword Dao War was just a training for low-level disciples of Dao cultivators and sword cultivators. But in the eyes of us Qi refinement and foundation establishment disciples, it was a life-and-death battle that spread throughout the 3 cultivation countries and Huan country. If you look at it now, it would probably be like a joke. The battle in the Imperial Devil Valley was the same. In the eyes of the cultivators of the Dawn Rain continent, it was a battle of life and death between the Dawn Rain continent and the Devil World. However, in the eyes of the Heaven Alliance and the Dao Alliance of the Lin continent, it was just an ordinary battle. Oh, even a cultivator who defeated Immortal Alliance and broke through Mount Meru's Buddha formation can become Immortal Alliance's Vice Alliance leader. Presumably, this Vice Alliance leader Luo Xingtian Luo also obtained glory in Dawn Rain continent that he did not obtain in Lin continent. No wonder Daoist Yuan Kong and the others wanted to come to Dawn Rain continent to have fun. After speaking, Xiaohua waved his hand as if he was chasing away a fly and said impatiently, Forget it, let's not talk about this. You and I are destined to have no fate with Dawn Rain continent's great war between immortals and demons. Take a look, this is the barrier to the demon realm. With your strength, can you pass through it? Without waiting for Demon Venerable Shi to speak, Feng Wu flew back from outside the valley with a strange expression. Xiaohua did not mind and asked casually, Thank you for your trouble. No problem, Feng Wu replied. Xiaohua did not have the heart to talk to him, and did not return to the space. Instead, he stood at the side as if he had something to tell Xiaohua. Demon Venerable Shi did not care about Feng Wu's return. He looked at the restriction in the space and said, There is a restriction placed by Dawn Rain continent's cultivators on this realm barrier. It is specially used to detect the situation of the space barrier. Although this restriction is like paper in our eyes, it cannot be restored after being pierced. It will definitely attract the attention of Immortal Alliance. Xiaohua nodded and said, I know this. I just want to ask you if you can pass through this realm barrier. Demon Venerable Shi thought for a moment, and looked at the space on the left. His hands tore towards the space, and the already unstable space was immediately torn apart. As Demon Venerable Shi tried to send in a spell, the vague realm passage and terrifying realm aura began to surge. Demon Venerable Shi hurriedly stopped the spell and covered the space. He smiled and said, No problem. This place is not like the 3 continents and 10,000 demon realm. The realm passage here is often opened. As long as I use the space escape technique and the space stabilization technique I obtained earlier, I can smoothly reach the demon realm. After reaching the demon realm, remember to cover up the space barrier. Xiaohua's heart was set. He warned, if possible, try to occupy the demon realm near the space barrier. Don't let the demon realm people harass Dawn Rain continent in the future. I will try my best. Demon Venerable Shi shrugged and said, You should tell this to Zhang Qingxiao. He will stay in the demon realm longer than me. I don't need to tell him this. He knows it very well. Xiaohua smiled and replied. Feng Wu looked around and interrupted. Dao friend, other than the demon realm's laws of heaven and earth, there doesn't seem to be any other realms. Are you sure you entered from here? Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, gift it. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5110. I'm almost certain. Xiaohua pointed at the valley in the distance and said, "There are some caves there. I have some vague memories. If I'm not mistaken, I suddenly fell onto this battlefield during the Great Immortal Demon War. Then, I was discovered by 2 soul-severing stage and body integration stage cultivators. They searched my soul and sealed my Dantian and Mudpill Palace. Little Black and Little Yellow didn't fall here, but somewhere else?" Fengwu asked. "I'm afraid so." Xiaohua nodded. "Didn't you see that the 9 origin realm was in one place in the 10,000 demon realm? But when it reached the Yilin continent, it was actually spread across the Yilin continent and turned into 9 forbidden areas. Although I arrived at the Dawn Rain continent with Little Yellow and Little Black, because the time we fell into the realm was different, the distance between us was naturally different." "Yes." Fengwu nodded. "This is fate. If it wasn't for Little Yellow, how could you have met Xianwan? If it wasn't for Little Black, you also wouldn't have met Ziming." "Yes." Speaking of Ziming, Xiaohua's heart was filled with helplessness. He nodded slightly. "The fate between people is so strange, it's hard to explain." "Then what about fellow Taoist and the Imperial Thunder Sect?" Fengwu suddenly asked. "Imperial Thunder Sect?" Xiaohua frowned and asked curiously. Why did fellow Taoist suddenly mention the Imperial Thunder Sect? Fengwu raised her phoenix claw and took out a jade slip. She handed it to Xiaohua and said, "I sent Zhang Qingxiao back. Just as I flew out of the void, a message came." After Zhang Qingxiao finished reading it, she gave this jade slip to I and asked I to pass it to fellow Taoist, saying that it was a matter of the Imperial Thunder Sect. If you weren't here, he would have gone to take a look. But since you're back, he wouldn't do anything unnecessary. Xiaohua took the jade slip and looked at it. His face was somewhat gloomy, as if he couldn't make a decision. After a while, Xiaohua looked up and asked Fengwu, "What does fellow Taoist think?" The Imperial Thunder Sect betrayed fellow Taoist, but the Myriad Thunder Valley didn't betray fellow Taoist. Unfortunately, Shui and I won't watch as the Imperial Thunder Sect is in trouble. Since fellow Taoist can call martial uncle Zhen Qing and junior martial sister Sun Shu, it means that you haven't put the Imperial Thunder Sect down in your heart. Why should you put a mere fairy Xianhua in your eyes? Fengwu's thoughts were naturally Xiaohua's thoughts. Then I'll have to trouble fellow Taoist to make another trip. Xiaohua nodded, took out the Kunlun mirror, and handed it over to Fengwu. "Tei." Fengwu rolled her eyes and said, "You're used to ordering me around, fellow Taoist. How many times have you flown? This Dawn Rain continent space is odd. Each time I execute spatial escape art, it feels awkward." Although Xiaohua has a bad temper and won't take the initiative to find trouble, if you provoke his reverse scale, won't he turn the Dawn Rain mainland upside down? Fortune Gate's 5th Old Master. Fortune Gate's 5th Old Master. Zhang Qingxiao called out a few times in an exaggerated manner. He then pinched his chin as if he was thinking. After a while he muttered again, "I don't have Xiaohua's communication jade slip. If I send a message to the Imperial Thunder Sect now, I'm afraid the cucumber will be cold. Forget it, since the Fortune Gate has issued a summons, Xiaohua can also receive it from the Imperial Thunder Sect. When he sees the summons, he will immediately understand what's going on. There's no need for me to draw legs on a snake." But Zhang Qingxiao frowned as he looked in the direction of the Sky Patrol City. He was somewhat puzzled. I don't know if Fairy Hongxia really has a change of heart, or is she just pretending to delay? She actually wants to be engaged to the Yi family's young lord? The strangest thing is that the engagement ceremony is actually held in the Sky Patrol City? As for this Zhonghauern, I used to think that other than being loyal to junior brother, he has no other redeeming qualities. Today, my eyes have lit up. He actually realized that this is an excellent opportunity to unite the Fortune Gates people. He even used Taoist Zhao's name to issue a summon order, ordering all Fortune Gates disciples to head to the Sky Patrol City to stop the engagement ceremony. Zhonghauern thought it through well. He thinks that regardless of whether this matter succeeds or fails, he can establish the Fortune Gate's authority among the small sections. This will make it easier for him to integrate and lead the Fortune Gate in the future. But he doesn't know that the Huan country's sword cultivators and my heavenly demon sect's Earth Fiend sect, Renhua sect, and Earth Spirit sect are also prepared to use this battle as an opportunity to wipe out the small sects like the Fortune Gate in one fell swoop. This will allow them to gain as much control as possible over the three countries. The Earth Fiend sect, Renhua sect, and Earth Spirit sect's deputy sect masters really deserve to die. They didn't even discuss this matter with me. Do they think that just because I didn't restrain them all these years, I don't care about them? Do they think that I can't do anything to them? Oh, not good. Yi family. Damn it. How could I forget about the Yi family's ambition? The Huan country's Yi family must also want to get their hands on the three countries. That's why they set up such a trap. If the engagement ceremony is real, the Yi family and the Kai family will join hands, and the Yi family's forces will enter the hinterland of the Shi country. If the engagement ceremony is fake, the Yi family will be like the sword cultivators and the three sects, dividing the Fortune Gate's forces. Regardless of whether the engagement ceremony is real or fake, Sky Patrol City will be the center of another sword battle. Yi Yaotian, you really have a good plan. Unfortunately, the Yi family has calculated everything, including the Huan country and the three countries, but they didn't calculate that the real Taoist Xiao has already returned to the Dawn Rain mainland with the supreme strength of the human race. These calculations will definitely be seen by Taoist Xiao. His thunderous methods will fall like rain, just in time to help me deal with the heavenly demon sex traitors. TSK, I have to say that junior brother is really lucky. I have always disliked his low profile and looked down on his forbearance. If I had his strength, I would have already killed in all directions and my reputation would have spread far and wide. Under such glory, how could I see the filth in these people's hearts? It seems that I should also learn to hide my strength and bide my time in the future. Zhang Qingxiao muttered to himself as he once again moved towards the distant mountain range. He felt that since Zhong Haoren had issued a summon order, the Dawn Rain mainland's Fortune Gate would immediately gather at Sky Patrol City. With Xiaohua's ability, he would definitely receive the summon order, and there would be no need for him to send a message to Xiaohua. However, he forgot that Xiaohua did not need to fly to the Imperial Thunder Sect. Xiaohua only needed to tear the void and use the space escape technique to reach the Imperial Thunder Sect. How could he receive Zhong Haoren's summon order in time? The Imperial Thunder Sect was still the Imperial Thunder Sect. 1,000 years was but a blink of an eye, not leaving too many traces in the Lei Mo mountain range. Under the curtain of night, the moonlight was as beautiful as water, illuminating the entire Lei Mo mountain range. On the mountain range, whether it was rocks, vegetation, or immortal birds and beasts, everything was clearly visible under the brilliance of the moonlight. Above the starry sky, several thin clouds would occasionally drift by, blocking the moonlight. The moonlight was like water blocked by a reef, either flowing elsewhere or backtracking. At the place where the moonlight was distorted, layers of lightning threads appeared. These lightning threads were like flames, burning fiercely and intertwining to form a lightning net. The lightning net flashed and disappeared into the void, covering the entire Lei Mo mountain range tightly. Swoosh! In the distant sky, several flying boats passed through the curtain of night and slid to the left side of the mountain range. Lightning flashed on the flying boats, looking like falling meteors from afar. Swoosh swoosh! In an instant, from a hidden place in the mountain range, several disciples wearing battle armor soared into the sky. The one in front was a mid-foundation establishment cultivator, holding a heavy halberd, standing majestically in midair, quietly watching the flying boats approach. The other Qi refining disciples were also in high spirits, standing behind the foundation establishment cultivator with calm gazes. When the flying boats approached, the mid-foundation establishment cultivator shouted, "Which Lightning Palace disciple is returning to the sect? Why haven't you gotten off the boat and reported? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it, reward it, and thank you for all forms of support." Chapter 51:11. As he shouted, the lightning on the flying boat slowly disappeared. A cultivator in the late stage of the Foundation establishment realm flew down from the flying boat. Although he was facing a junior in the Foundation establishment realm, he didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly took out his token and handed it to the patrolling disciple. Disciple Kangsu from Canlei Palace. I've brought 10 disciples back from their training. Please let them pass. The patrolling disciple took the token and looked at it carefully. He then looked up at the 10 disciples on the flying boat and returned the token to Kangsu. He said loudly, "Today I've verified that Kangsu and 10 disciples of Canlei Palace have returned from their training. Please let them pass." Following the foundation building disciple's voice, the dozen or so aura refining disciples behind him took out magic tools from their bosoms. They then urged their figures to scatter and rush to different places. Once their magic tools emitted different colored lightning bolts, they each shot out a strand of lightning from midair. Like a stream of water, the lightning bolts swept through everything within a radius of several thousand feet. After the lightning bolt disappeared, the foundation building disciple smiled and respectfully saluted Kangsu of Canlei Palace. Junior welcomes senior martial brother back from your training. Kangsu put away the token and helped the foundation building disciple up. He smiled and said, "You've worked hard. I'm training for myself. You're on duty here for my thunder controlling sect." "Thank you for your understanding, senior," the foundation building disciple said with a smile. "This is Junior's duty. We don't need to work hard." And Kangsu nodded. He looked at the Mount Lama in the night and asked, "What happened in the sect? Why did you suddenly send an urgent message asking us disciples who are training outside to rush back?" "Senior didn't explain in your messaging talisman?" The foundation building disciple was puzzled. However, he came to his senses after a while and said with a smile, "Maybe the messaging talismans sent by each Thunder Palace are different. Our Thunder Palace already explained the sect's 100 Halls competition when we sent the message." 100 Halls competition? Kangsu was even more puzzled. He asked, "What's that?" The patrolling foundation establishment disciple didn't answer immediately. He first looked to the left and saw that other patrolling disciples had already flown out to block the flying boats that were approaching. Only then did he withdraw his gaze and answer, "Senior, you must know that with the great change in the world's spiritual energy, not only is our Imperial Thunder sect unable to recruit enough disciples, even the cultivation of our original disciples has slowed down." After the flying boat sank into the array, the circles of lightning ripples slowly disappeared. Kangsu stood on the flying boat. He felt a flash of light and shadow, and the scene in front of him changed. He focused his eyes and was slightly stunned. Why is there such a big formation? Above the Mo mountains that stretched for thousands of miles, 8 flashing lightning balls were like huge lightning suns hanging quietly in the air. The lightning was like the sun, illuminating the entire mountain range. Under each lightning sun, thousands of disciples of the Imperial Thunder sect would stand in neat formations, either whispering or looking at the lightning suns. Looking at the thunder sun again, some of them had disciples fighting inside, while others were empty. Under the lightning suns where disciples were fighting, many disciples were cheering loudly. Under the lightning suns where there were no disciples, there were even disciples who were eager to fight, seemingly ready to charge into the lightning suns and fight. Thousands of disciples gathered in the Mo mountains. It was extremely lively, orderly and jubilant. What's going on? And Chi Refinement disciple looked at the scene in front of him, and couldn't help but be dumbfounded. He whispered, "Where did the lightning suns come from?" Kangsu was obviously stunned as well. After a while he finally saw the clue and sneered, "Look at the location of the lightning suns. Is it the main peak of the 8 lightning palaces?" Yes, master is right." After Kangsu finished speaking, the other disciples came to their senses and took the lead. If it's the lightning suns produced by each lightning palace, what else could it be? Kangsu raised his hand and pointed. "These are the 8 thunder fields of the 8 lightning palaces." "Ah, 8 thunder fields?" Of course, the Chi Refinement disciples hadn't been to the thunder fields, but how could any disciple of the Imperial Thunder sect not have heard of them? They couldn't help but feel stupid. But The dejected 12th level Qi refinement disciple said, Master, I heard that the thunder fields of the Imperial Thunder Sect are one. It's just that the exits are in each lightning palace. Well, Kuan-Su was a little embarrassed. After all, he was only a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. How could he know too many secrets of the Imperial Thunder Sect? He hesitated for a moment, and was about to speak when a light figure flew over from nearby. It was a Golden Core cultivator. The Golden Core cultivator smiled and said, You guessed right. This is the thunder fields of the Imperial Thunder Sect. Seeing this, Kuan-Su didn't dare to be negligent. He hurriedly flew down from the flying boat and said respectfully, Junior greets Uncle Master Kuren-Bo. Kuan-Su's disciples naturally also hurriedly flew out and bowed respectfully as they received the thunder boat. Haha, why did you come back so late? The Golden Core cultivator named Kuren-Bo raised his hand and helped everyone up. He asked with a smile, seeming to be in a good mood, Uncle Master. Kuan-Su hurriedly pointed at the 12th level Qi refinement disciple and said, Zhou Hong is on the verge of Foundation establishment. Although I received the sect master's order, I thought that his opportunity was rare, so I waited for a few days. However, unfortunately, I didn't dare to wait any longer. Zhou Hong. Yes, I understand. Kuan-Bo looked at Zhou Hong and nodded. It's a pity this time. However, Zhou Hong, don't be discouraged. If you don't succeed this time, there will be a next time. Now that the spirit Qi of heaven and earth has changed, being able to condense true Qi and sense the Foundation establishment is already not easy. You have to work harder and strive for the next Foundation establishment. Yes, Uncle Master, I understand. How could Zhou Hong not complain in his heart? But what could he say? Kuren-Bo seemed to see the unwillingness in Zhou Hong's heart. After pondering for a moment, he took out a jade bottle and handed it to Kuren-Bo. This is the only Foundation establishment pill I have left. I'll give it to you. I wish you success in reaching Foundation establishment this morning. Uncle Master. When Kuan-Su heard this, he hurriedly waved his hand and said, You can't do this. Under the changes of heaven and earth, the exquisite grass is becoming increasingly scarce. Foundation establishment pills in the Imperial Thunder Sect are already scarce. Haha, why are you being so polite with me? Kuren-Bo placed the jade bottle in front of Zhou Hong and said with a smile, No matter what, Zhou Hong is still a disciple of my Canlei Palace. I'm happy that a foundation building disciple has appeared in my Canlei Palace. Quickly accept it. Yes, thank you, Uncle Master. Zhou Hong's eyes were a little moist. The resentment in his heart had long disappeared. He took the jade bottle and said, I've already reached Foundation establishment as soon as possible. Thank you for your concern, Uncle Master. Kuan-Su was naturally happy as well. After thanking him, he looked at the 8 thunder fields in the distance and said curiously, Uncle Master, I'm not too clear about the thunder fields, but I've also heard that there's only one thunder field in the Imperial Thunder Sect. However, each thunder palace has a life and death temple and an entrance. Why are there 8 thunder fields now? Haha, what you all know is also correct. Kuren-Bo looked at the thunder fields in the distance and said with a smile, Even I thought that there was only one thunder field before it was separated. However, when the 8 great thunder palace masters used their divine abilities to separate the thunder fields, I realized that the thunder fields were just a formation space. When combined they were 1, and when separated they were 8. Oh, by the way, you all should know that every time you enter the Thunder Arena, the illusion inside is different. Because the Thunder Arena is divided into 8 parts, the time you enter is different, and the location is different, so the illusion will naturally be different. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and reward it. Thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 51:12. I've learned something. Realization dawned on Kuan-Su. He looked at Kuren-Bo's smile and smiled as well. He asked, Uncle Master, judging from your expression, my Canlei Palace's results are not bad? Currently, the 8 great thunder palaces are fighting their own battles. My Canlay Palace's thunder arena only clears the palace branches of my Canlay Palace. Kinbo replied, I don't know about the results of the other thunder palaces, but my Leisurely Rain Garden's results are not bad this time. They shouldn't be eliminated. Before the 100 Palaces competition, the disciples of Leisurely Rain Garden came to me several times to ask me to think of a solution. I was also worried about how to advise the palace master, but it seems that there's no need for that now. Oh right, Kansu, Jade Mountain's results don't seem to be good. You should hurry and see if you can make it to the last round. Huh? It can't be. Kansu was a little dumbfounded. He said in surprise, if the results don't go well, will my Jade Mountain be eliminated? Yes. Kinbo said seriously, this time, the sect master has made up his mind to clean up from top to bottom. If Jade Mountain's results don't go well, it might really be eliminated and the disciples will join the other palaces. Yes, I understand. Kansu panicked when he heard that and hurriedly asked, Uncle Master, where is my Jade Mountain's disciple? He should be at the northeast corner of the Canlay Palace's Thunder Arena. Go quickly. Kinbo pointed in a direction and said, I'll take my leave. After Kansu finished speaking, he hurriedly led his disciples away. Kinbo looked at the backs of Kansu and the others and sighed slightly. Then he released his spiritual force and urged his body to look around. Not to mention that Kansu and the others were rushing to the Thunder Arena of the Canlay Palace. Under the Thunder Arena of the Thunderous Palace, about a few miles to the west of the Thunder Sun, there were dozens of male and female cultivators gathered together. Wasn't the person standing in the middle of them Zhua ****, who had cultivated to the late-stage Golden Core realm? At this moment, Zhua ****'s face was filled with nervousness as he looked inside the Thunder Sun. In the Thunder Sun, there were 2 Foundation establishment cultivators activating their Dharma artifacts and fighting. Xiangyang. Seeing a middle-aged cultivator get hit by the opponent's banner due to a moment of carelessness, Zhuiyang couldn't help but cry out. How could Shitua be so careless? On the left side of Zhua ****, Xiangyang and Yan Qinglian were also watching nervously. Hearing Zhua ****'s question, Xiangyang and Yan Qinglian looked at each other. Xiangyang smiled bitterly and said, Master's wife, our 10,000 Thunder Valley has few disciples. This is already Shituo's 3rd battle. The first time he barely won. Then he flew back to the myriad Thunder Valley disciples. When Zhen Quan flew back, Shitua had already woken up. He looked at Zhen Quan, then at the concerned crowd. Finally he said to Zhua Hongzhu, Ancestor, I didn't lose to the disciples of Thousand Thunder Mountain. My myriad Thunder Valley won't be wiped out. Zhua Hongzhu's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at Shitua. She couldn't help but feel proud that myriad Thunder Valley had such a loyal disciple. Zhua Hongzhu said, Don't worry, child. Our myriad Thunder Valley won more than we lost in the past month. How could we be wiped out? You can rest at ease and recuperate. That's good. I'm relieved. As Shitua answered, a few aura refining disciples flew over from behind the crowd and supported him. Shituo's real name was Zhentua, and he was Zhen Quan's disciple. These aura refining disciples were also his disciples. Counting with one's fingers, myriad Thunder Valley now had 5 generations of disciples. Qinglian. After Zhentua was supported by his disciples, Xiangyang pondered for a moment, then said via voice transmission, Shituo's Dao Foundation was damaged when he used his flying sword just now. Do you still have medicinal pills to heal him? This. Yan Qinglian hesitated for a moment, then said with a wry smile, Husband, I naturally have ordinary medicinal pills. If it were ordinary medicinal pills, would I still need to ask you? Xiangyang said somewhat anxiously, I'm asking about the medicinal pills youngest junior brother left behind. Alas, husband. How could Yan Qinglian not know the anxiety in Xiangyang's heart? She said helplessly, Youngest junior brother left behind a lot of medicinal pills, but it's been several hundred years. How many are left? Shouldn't we leave some for a rainy day? I know. Xiangyang didn't hesitate and said, I've just checked Shituo's injuries. If we use the sect's medicinal pills, they might be able to heal his injuries, but a damaged Dao foundation isn't easy to repair. This will be detrimental to his future cultivation. Shitua fought 3 battles for our myriad Thunder Valley. As his master, we can't make him sad. All right. Yan Qinglian still wanted to say something, but she knew Xiang Yang's temper. If there was an exception, Xiang Yang would have already shut his mouth when she first objected. Since he insisted on giving it to her, then she could only give it to him. Just as Yan Qinglian carefully took out a jade bottle from her storage bag, Dui Qiming suddenly said to Zhen Quan, "Zhen Quan, I have the medicinal pills your second martial uncle left behind. Take them and give them to Shitua. His foundation was damaged after 3 battles. If he can't repair it during the foundation establishment stage, I'm afraid it won't be easy for him to step into the golden core stage." Qiming. Yan Qinglian hurriedly took out the jade bottle and said, "I have some here too, sister-in-law." When Yan Qinglian took out the jade bottle, Dui Qiming had already stuffed another identical jade bottle into Zhen Quan's hands and said with a smile, "Hong Shen is now the deputy hall master of Lightning Thunder Hall. He usually sends some medicinal pills back to the valley. Although second Marshall Brothers' medicinal pills are good, Hong Shen's disciples and I have no use for them. Today Shitua made a great contribution to our myriad Thunder Valley. We can't treat him unfairly." Dui Qiming's words weren't without pride, but her action of taking out medicinal pills was to protect the myriad Thunder Valley's disciples. Yan Qinglian opened her mouth and said with a smile, "Since that's the case, many thanks, junior martial sister." Hearing Yan Qinglian's agreement, Zhen Quan took the jade bottle and said respectfully, "Many thanks, martial uncle." Zhua **** had never cared about the trivial matters of the myriad Thunder Valley. She had only listened to Yan Qinglian and Dui Qiming's words. Now that she saw Zhen Quan leave, she looked at Dui Qiming and asked, "Qiming, why hasn't Hong Shen returned yet?" "Reporting to mistress," Dui Qiming hurriedly said. "For the 100 halls competition this time, not only will the various halls be sorted out, the various lightning palaces will also be ranked. The stronger ones will be rewarded by the sect master. The disciples of Lightning Thunder Hall have always had good cultivation. If they can get into the top 3 of Lightning Palace, or the top 10 of Lightning Controlling Sect in this 100 halls competition, his position as the deputy hall master might be able to take half a step forward. Therefore he has been busy in Lightning Thunder Hall." "Yes," Zhua **** nodded. "If Hong Shen can become the hall master of Lightning Thunder Hall, our myriad Thunder Valley will have nothing to worry about." "Mistress, don't worry." Yan Qinglian laughed from the side. "Let's not talk about the performance of the disciples of my myriad Thunder Valley in this 100 halls competition. Our strength is above average among the various halls and branches of Seismic Thunder Palace. It is impossible for Thunder Meng Daoist to remove my myriad Thunder Valley from the list of halls and branches of Seismic Thunder Palace. Even if our myriad Thunder Valley loses in this 100 halls competition, our myriad Thunder Valley won't be eliminated because of the sect master Qian Lazy's sect order." Yan Qinglian was naturally referring to the time when Qian Lazy found out that Xiao Hua was nascent soul Wu Ming. On one hand, he ordered Lightning Meng Daoist to chase after Xiao Hua with the sect master token. On the other hand, he issued another sect master token. This sect master token was to rope Xiao Hua in and allow the myriad Thunder Valley disciples to continue guarding the myriad Thunder Valley.